but wanted to make a few modifications to the ball to make it a bit more effective. Around this time, an American chemist had just created something called vulcanized rubber. Out of that, people started developing air-filled rubber balls, which were properly bouncy, but either red or grey in colour. These were manufactured in Melton Mowbray. That's right, the home of the pork pie. One problem, the balls kept on breaking on impacts with the racket. The call of new balls please seemingly coming over every other point. Step forward English lawyer and tennis enthusiast John Moyer Heathcote, who suggested balls be covered in flannel to stop them from degrading. And thus the modern-day tennis ball was born. But these were white or black, so how did they become yellow? Well, in 1967, the controller of BBC Two, one Sir David Attenborough, decided the corporation should show Wimbledon on colour TV. He got his wish and it was wide into people's homes across the country. The only sticking point, the white balls were nearly impossible to see on the screen. So the International Tennis Federation, sensing an opportunity, started developing a new ball that would be visible even without the need for 4K LED displays. Not that anyone had that in the late 60s. After rigorous testing, they came up with the colour optic yellow and decided every ball be coated in that colour from there on in. And there you have it. Tennis balls are yellow, all because Sir David Attenborough wanted to watch Wimbledon from the comfort of his own front room. You could say the ITF aced it.
Good morning. It's 3 minutes past 6, Monday the 14th of July. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling and Andy Townsend is with me right through until 10 o'clock this morning. Morning, Andy.
Good morning, Jeff. How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, but I tell you what, I had the strangest dream last night.
Go on.
A really weird dream. I dreamt that Donald Trump was celebrating as if he'd scored the winning goal for Chelsea in the Club World Cup final,
Yeah.
and that Andy Carroll had signed for Dagenham and Redbridge. I mean, I woke up in hot sweats.
Look, I tell you what a performance, Jeff, from Chelsea won it last night. It was a terrific performance. And look, whatever anybody makes of the competition, and we've all got our opinions on that, let's not deny Chelsea the fact that they were brilliant last night. They've thrown themselves at the competition properly. If you're going to go in it, well, go in it to win it. And they were absolutely. I've not seen any team do that to PSG. And I know it's at the look. We are talking about it's the middle of July here, and PSG have been incredible for a serious amount of time. But I've not seen any team do what Chelsea did to them last night in terms of fronting them up, dealing with what they're good at, and then still having a punch or two of their own. They were absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and 4 days ago, let's be honest, PSG didn't look like they were just going through the motions or they had a long, hard season when they walloped Real Madrid.
Yeah.
But look, we'll talk a lot about the game during the course of it. I think two things is that Cole Palmer was brilliant during the 90 minutes, and he was brilliant afterwards as well because he spoke for a nation with his bewildered looks at Trump during the course of the celebrations. He was amazing. Did you enjoy the halftime show?
No, in a word. I'll tell you what, I couldn't believe it. For one, I couldn't believe how long it went on for.
Has it finished?
Exactly. I think it's just finished, yeah. It, whatever it was, 20 plus, 24? 24 minutes. I mean, is crazy. I didn't know half what was going on out there. I didn't know half the people that were supposedly entertaining. And
still, the PSG players 3-0 down. They'll have been enjoying it.
Oh, can you imagine?
No.
To say you'd stiffen up in that amount of time, Jeff, is the biggest understatement ever. I tell you what, I bet you the players are in the dressing room. They'll be jogging around and jogging on the spot in there for 5 or 10 minutes just to try and keep warm to get ready to go again, because you do, when you go in at half time, you can stiffen up a little bit, and certainly, thankfully, it wasn't a problem for Chelsea. Just again, the quality of their goals. João Pedro, what a difference it makes to a team when you got a number 9 that absolutely players can trust and can link with. Look, Nicholas Jackson, no doubt, will go on to still have a decent time at Chelsea, but I tell you, now all of a sudden they look a different proposition with someone like him leading the line.
You know who I thought was fantastic? He won't get any of the headlines at all, but Gusto down the right-hand side. You know, he made so many runs that took defenders away to give Cole Palmer and João Pedro the room inside of him.
Correct.
I thought he was absolutely sensational. And everybody knows, I think, my views on the Club World Cup. I'm not having it at all. But you're absolutely right. On the night, Chelsea were fantastic.
They were.
So for the next 4 years, Chelsea will be known as World Club Champions.
In the blue corner, Chelsea! And in the white corner, Paris Saint-Germain!
Palmer with the corner, and Cole Palmer has scored for Chelsea. They take the lead in the Club World Cup final. Palmer comes in field onto the left foot again. Oh, he's done it again! Cole Palmer with another wonderful goal, and Chelsea are on the brink of world domination. Paris Saint-Germain are all over the place. They're rattled, and he threads it through. Here's João Pedro with a great opportunity. João Pedro makes it 3-0, and they are cantering to the World Championship here, and that's it. Chelsea are the world champions, and they have absolutely hammered Paris Saint-Germain, the Champions League winners, in the FIFA Club World Cup final by 3-0. Donald Trump hands over the trophy, and now the celebrations can really begin. Once again, Chelsea finish on top of the podium, and this time it means they are the world's best.
Yes, Cole Palmer double and a brilliant João Pedro goal saw Chelsea! Do you want Michael Buffer involved in the World Cup?
No, I don't. Look, there's no doubt when Michael Buffer does what he does in on those big boxing nights, it is good. But I tell you what, I thought to myself, oh my word. Can you imagine as well, Jim? I'm not being funny for Michael. I mean, it's not the most strenuous job in the world. If you've got a good voice and you can string a couple of sentences together, you're doing all right. And can you imagine what they must have been giving him to turn up there yesterday and do that sort of stuff? God knows what that was. Good luck to him, but no thanks. Don't. I really hope that they're not got any designs on doing that with Michael Buffer or someone like Michael Buffer next year at the World Cup, because
but they will. They will. You know they will.
Well, if they do, then what it does, it just cheapens it to me. It just cheapens Chelsea's achievements a little bit with all that stuff wrapped round it. You've got to ignore all that and just focus on the football. But it's difficult, as you say. You can't help but sort of watch it all and take it all in. No, I don't want any of that in terms of going forward. No thanks.
No, me neither. Cole Palmer then named superior player of the match. That's man of the match to you and I.
Yes.
As well as player of the tournament, and his boss Enzo Maresca was full of praise.
These are the games where we expect Cole to appear, because they are a big game, big moment, and once again I think he show how good it is.
Well, it's an interesting comment. These are the games we expect Cole to appear. From the Premier League's point of view, you're going to expect him to appear pretty much every week, aren't you?
He had that spell, didn't he, around Christmas time when he was drifting a little bit. And look, people remember that a lot has happened to Cole Palmer still very quickly. His rapid rise to where he is right now has been exceptional, really. He is a wonderful talent. There is no question. I mean, I don't particularly like him, and I'm not sure if he if it's his best position for Chelsea, being right off of 3 up top, Jeff. But he thrown himself into it yesterday and did it beautifully. The team released him at the right time when he had space and time to run at people. I tell you, one of his greatest qualities, however good he is with that left foot and teasing people and walking it up to people, going by people, dropping people to the floor like he did on his second goal, is the beautiful way he moves across the ground. He is quick. When he picks that ball up and wants to travel with it at pace, he's very, very difficult to catch. He's an exceptional player, and Chelsea have whatever they're doing in those other positions, they've still got to continue to try and involve him as often and as much as they can, because you just feel with Cole Palmer when he gets it in and around the edge of the box, something's going to happen.
He's great to watch. I mean, he is a fantastic player to watch, no question of that. It was interesting, actually, to hear from Enzo Maresca there after winning the trophy. Of course, they won the Conference League as well. There's still been a lot of question marks, though, about whether Maresca was the right man to take Chelsea forward. Dean Ashton reckons, though, that he has got Chelsea into a winning habit.
He's building a culture already, a winning culture, Enzo Maresca, in the short time that he's been there. Slowly built it over the season, some ups and some downs, but getting better as the season went on. And now there seems to be a good feel about the group, a togetherness about the group, and certainly a lot of quality and energy about the group. And that was shown in abundance today against the Champions League holders.
Well, if there were any questions about Enzo Maresca, and I'm not sure within the Chelsea hierarchy there necessarily were, there certainly can't be any longer, can there?
Well, I think if there's fans that were a little bit unsure about his ability against a top-class opponent to set a team up, to send it out there with a job to do, then I'm sure one or two of those people now have got to hold their hands up and say what he did yesterday. Very few teams, Jeff. In fact, I don't remember seeing one team in the Champions League last season go after PSG a little bit in the way that Chelsea did last night at the start of that game. The first 15 minutes, I thought they were absolutely brilliant in kind of setting a bit of a tempo for the rest of the game. They applied pressure. I watched Liverpool try to apply pressure at Anfield against PSG, and PSG passed through them. And I know it's at a different time of the season, different conditions, etc., etc. But as you rightly pointed out, there's nothing wrong with PSG when they demolished Real Madrid, days ago. So again, I thought Enzo set the team up with great courage, and more importantly, those players believed in it as well and went out there and did that. And because it only takes. We've all had managers set a team up and you get out there and all of a sudden after 5 minutes you think this isn't working and everyone starts looking around at each other. Now what we're doing? That wasn't the case. The plan that the manager and that the coach set up worked to absolute perfection.
So look, a trophy in the cabinet, £100 million in the bank. The big question is, what impact does it have in the Premier League next season? I guess we won't know until, 3 or 4 months in.
Correct. I still think there may be some issues fitness-wise. I mean, it's vitally important now those players go away, forget about football for, I don't know how long they're going to get, Jeff. What are they going to get? 2.5 weeks or something like that, probably, before they're going to have to come back. Maybe early August. Can't leave them all just 2 weeks shy of a Premier League season before you get them all back. So I think they're going to have a couple of weeks at least.
And then they've got a little pre-season tournament at home.
Well, right.
But it is at home.
Yes. Yeah. And look, exactly how it all pans out and what sort of shape they're going to be in come December, January time, well, we'll have to wait and see. But the here and now is that whilst the rest of us watching that game yesterday probably aren't too wrapped up in this tournament win, I think for Chelsea, I think it was crucial. I think it's big for those players as a group, as a young group, a young coach, adding trophies to his to his list. I think it's really important for them, I think, as a group going forward from this point, to say they've shown what they can do against the very best when it matters. And they turned up, they rocked up, they played brilliant. And it didn't flatter him. It didn't flatter Chelsea at all, did it? 3.
It certainly didn't.
I mean, Doué, what on earth he's doing trying to square that ball at 1-0 when he had that chance when it was rolled across the 6-yard box, and he's just got one touch to go and he tries to knock it across to Dembele. I don't know what on earth he's doing there. Just put your foot through it and you might have been back at 1-1. However, that's not the case. Chelsea had other opportunities too to score. It could have been, in truth, it could have been 5-2. Something like that easily.
So look, we've had a Club World Cup final which has a delayed kick-off, a 25-minute half-time. It has Michael Buffer, Robbie Williams, Coldplay, Donald Trump, some bald-headed bloke from FIFA, all on the stage at the same time. And Martin from Lim says, it's just as bad in the Premier League. Loud music, pointless fireworks, and loud announcements, not necessary. Oh, Martin, come on.
Yeah.
I am normally Mr. Misery, not you. But it was just a shade different from the Premier League, and difference is not always a good thing, let me tell you. Chelsea fans will being crowned World Club champions turn into becoming Premier League champions. That's a bit of a stretch, isn't it, at the moment? And what did everyone make of the off-pitch antics, the half-time, the pre-match and all that stuff? 03717 223344. Get involved this morning. Up next, we'll be asking whether the people got the Wimbledon champion they didn't want. Oh, it's harsh. In Yannick Sinner.
Plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Good morning. It is very nearly 6:20, Monday the 14th of July. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Build your own car deal online, all with a few clicks. They make buying your next car easy. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend is with me. Of course, the transfer window in full swing now. And one of the most interesting moves of the summer has gone through. Andy Carroll has joined National League South, Dagenham and Redbridge. Now, Jason Cundy of the Sports Bar revealed that he bumped into Carroll at Jamie O'Hara's engagement party and couldn't hide his admiration of the man. Have a listen to this.
I met Andy Carroll yesterday, right? He was there, and I looked across and I was like, I've never met him before. Yeah. Right? And I see him and I thought, right, is he? And he eyes kind of caught, and I got up and we went and had a chat. Okay. First and foremost, what a lovely bloke. Right, yeah, I heard this about him. What a lovely bloke, right? So I'm chatting about him, about going over to France and playing, and you know, various different things. He's coming back and he's trying to find a club and so. And I'm looking at him going, your beard's amazing. Your beard, honestly, your hair's amazing. He's 6'4", fit, slim. And look at his face going, oh my God, you're a beautiful man. I know.
Man crush, eh? How embarrassing is that? We got Cundy on later this morning.
Is he coming on later? Right, we'll have him on that.
He's going to get absolutely battered. Oh, he's not, apparently. Too much celebration last night.
You are
Chelsea.
joking.
Yeah, I think so. You watch.
Jason, get rid of yourself.
He's heard us say that, and now he'll be on the blower. He'll be straight on the phone saying, I want to come on. We'll see. You got any man crushes, Andy?
Man crushes? No, I can't honestly say that. I tell you what, lots I admire. But I'll crush. No, not that far, Jeff. I don't think. No.
For me, it's obviously I've got Coisty, but
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dean has texted and said the halftime show was horrendous, but like with a lot of things these days, I just switched channels until the second half has started. No rage, just reach for the remote /mouse /mute button, often used. Yeah, I get that, Dean, but you shouldn't have to do that.
What would be the perfect halftime, Jeff? Like from a sort of British point of view. Right, if you had 24 minutes, which we saw yesterday, what could we do in 24 minutes? Perfect British sort of half-time to completely spin on its head what we saw yesterday out in the States.
Kids taking penalties.
Well, they've always done. I mean, there's always something like that going on.
But that's great. That's what it should be. Something which is sort of vaguely football related, you know?
Something like that.
This is, look, forgive me being a dinosaur, as I know people will say I am, and they might be right, but this is about football, not showbiz. You know, this is about sport. Yeah, I mean, well, it used to be.
Very true.
Anyway, on that note, let's look ahead to today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle making bread? Improve your take-home dough with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big three networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
Hey, Shaban, morning.
A very good morning to you. I have to say, usually I'm the one going, oh, go on, give it a chance. Give the halftime shows a chance in football. That was hard.
It was hard work,
It was hard work last night. I mean, even from the American announcements like boxing, all of it, I was just like, oh, no, and Trump on stage, all of it was just a bit weird.
It was.
A bit weird in the end. Looking at today's back pages for you, Cool Cole Palmer. Cool Palm collected is the headline, and the Sun, he was absolutely brilliant last night. Good footage of him, by the way, just on a timeline this morning of him on e-scooters going around Times Square. Obviously that clip of him standing behind Reece James going, what's he doing? What's he doing here? Like, get him off the stage. He's so confused. Looking at the back page of the Times, that's focused on Wimbledon. Sinner gets revenge over his great rival, beating Alcaraz yesterday in the final. Back page of the Daily Mail, Chelsea 3, PSG 0. On top of the world is their headline. And Sinner's Italian job is on the Telegraph Sport pullout. But just coming to the front of the Times, I just wonder if there's a cheeky wee idea here for you two next time you've got a guest in the studio. Laura Wildenberg and David Brown saying Wimbledon water bottles have been sold on eBay for more than £300, with sellers claiming they've been used by the players.
What?
Yeah, so obviously they're leaving their bottles at the side of the court. Passers-by are going, oh, I'll have that.
We'll have that.
Sticking it on eBay. £300 for a bottle.
I know a few of the players have actually.
Mr. and Mrs. Gullible were the ones who were buying them. I mean, seriously.
They like to keep the towels, don't they? As if they,
I mean, that's fine. I get that.
They like to keep the players like to keep
sometimes, but the players sometimes throw the towels and mementos to the crowd. I get that. Yeah. Water bottles. I'm not having that. It's
I mean, I'd do it for an extra £1. I'd sell it for an extra £1. By the way, just above that, you're talking about not having a man crush. I mean, Henry Cavill, he was in attendance yesterday at Wimbledon.
Is he Superman?
Yeah.
He is, isn't he?
Aye.
Yeah.
That's a man.
Right, can I go here? I was going to say it a little later. It's outrageous the number of celebrities who are there, half of whom, have got no interest in tennis whatsoever. When people stand outside and queue for hour after hour after hour after hour, and their seats are being taken by people who are just there for the champagne, the strawberries, and the status.
And a little kip.
Yeah. Exactly. And frankly, most of those seats should be given to proper tennis fans. Just my view.
No, I think you're right, and they're given that seat as well, just for like a nice flashy picture kind of thing, and it's their big day out. But all of them dominating the pages today.
Would you go though, Jeff, if you got one next year?
Oh yeah. No, I wouldn't. Not in, if I was paying for myself, honestly, I would go then, but. I've been to Wimbledon umpteen times, when I was working there. So, and also, then you go along and you're the celebrity, and the final turns out to be 6-love.
Yeah.
And 50 odd minutes later, you're on your bike.
It's true.
Yeah, very good point.
Or in your chauffeur-driven car, as it would be.
Do you want to touch on doping, shall we? Just inside the Telegraph today, Oliver Brown saying champion compromised by dope and banned baggage. Both the Wimbledon winners for the men and women have this doping hanging over their heads. It felt in many ways a truly wholesome scene, a 23-year-old fulfilling his dream in front of his tearful mother. But let's talk about the elephant lurking in the corner, the question of whether Sinner, banned from the sport for 3 months after twice testing positive for the steroid clostebol, should have been competing here at all. I mean...
Well, do you know what, Siobhan? We don't know enough about the real fine detail in all of this sort of stuff. We can only go by what we read.
What we do know is it's been dealt with.
It's been done.
Move on.
Exactly.
The two of them, though, the two winners have had doping offences against them.
Sinners, there was all sorts of reasons behind it. Involved a physiotherapist and things. Not that he was, taking something that he shouldn't have done knowingly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been used to tarnish the finals, to tarnish the sport. And it's been dealt with. Let's move on.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say was that everybody, me included, wanted Alcaraz to win yesterday. But Sinner was fantastic.
It's just that asterisk, though. Like, it will always be discussed, even if they go on to win. It's the same with football. Look at Pogba getting his new opportunity. Asterisk is still there for doping. If you're a current footballer and you're playing that team, you're going, why is he getting in ahead of me? I'm not the one with the asterisk next to my name. I could see why all sports stars would look and have a bit of a feeling towards that.
Listen, I think I tend to agree with Jeff Shaban on this one, with this guy, that it has been sorted. We have kind of moved on. I would have thought that if there'd have been, the more of the players would have had more to say on it had they not have been convinced
like
about the reasons.
Like a strike or something, if they were so against
Can you imagine if all of a sudden the players turned around and went, right, we're not playing against him? And if everyone started saying that, then all of a sudden he'd have an issue. But look, it appears we have to take it at face value, what we've read, and we've moved on. What we can't deny, he's some player.
Yeah.
He is some player.
I saw the first 2.5 sets yesterday, getting the train to come into work, but I knew what was going on because there was a woman behind me who was watching the tennis on her iPad. And you know how Alcaraz grunts when he hits a shot? She grunted every time Alcaraz hit the shot, so I knew exactly what was going on. I mean, she had headphones on, so she didn't realise that everybody else in the carriage...
What's she doing that for, then?
...could hear her grunting away, which
so
she was
weird.
Obviously an Alcaraz fan, and she thought she could urge him on to victory. By the way, I then got on the tube, and there's a cricket match going on in the tube compartment that I was in. Some people who'd been enjoying a full day, shall we say, at Lord's, and they are bowling with a proper ball in the little corridor between the two sides of the tube, somebody batting with a wooden spoon at the other end. I mean, it was surreal. I mean, in fairness as well, the guy was batting. It's a bit like Harry Brook. I mean, he was just trying to whack everything that came his way, seriously. But it was a sort of surreal couple of hours.
You weren't shouting how's that every couple of minutes either.
Bilko says, a fabulous day of sport yesterday, and Jeff is still moaning, cheer up, dinosaur. Bilko, I'm a happy dinosaur, pal. Thanks, Shabhan.
Thank you.
That was a look at today's back pages, the Tesco Mobile for Business.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle making bread? Improve your take-home dough with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big three networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
Colin in Essex has taken up your suggestion, Andy. Says the perfect half-time, Chaz and Dave, supported by Morris dancers and a Weatherstroke fishing area report.
I love that.
That's a great idea.
That's a great... Do you know, I'd have preferred an episode of 40 Towers at half-time compared to what I saw last night. I mean, that, to me, was awful, and we'd love to know. Text us, please.
03717223344 or 81089.
Text
if
us.
you're going to text us, what would your perfect half-time be?
Great.
Up next, Steve Parish has been tweeting early this morning about the Palace UEFA fiasco. Find out what he had to say in just a moment.
Corinthian Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as the result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were absolutely sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money, but instead of entering league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. Think of it like the Harlem Globetrotters of football, and it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil, and the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest clubs in Brazil.
morning. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend is with me. 6:35, Monday the 14th of July. We asked for your perfect half-time. And Steve said, if I was watching Hartlepool, my favourite half-time would probably be getting the bus home. Oh, harsh, Steve, so harsh. Unbeaten in pre-season so far under Simon Grayson, so doing okay on the field, at least. Now then, Nottingham Forest and Evangelos Marinakis got their wish last week. They were promoted to the Europa League at the expense of Crystal Palace. They've also threatened legal action against Spurs over their approach from Morgan Gibbs-White. And JG, who's a Spurs fan, has labelled the owner and the club as classless this weekend.
Forest have got no class, right? So, first of all, forget this fiasco. Their behaviour snitching on Crystal Palace was a disgrace, yeah? No one likes snitches, right? And then now you've got this. They can't handle the fact that Spurs are a bigger club and that Gibbs-White wants to move to us.
That was GJ. GJ, have a little look at that league table last season, will you, son? Anyway, classless. I mean, I would call you look. I mean, Marinakis. I get he winds people up. I would say passionate.
Yeah. Oh, look. I don't think anyone can deny him that he's passionate.
I didn't like what happened over the Crystal Palace stuff. The fact that they wrote a letter. Didn't like that.
Look,
one jot.
He's that sort of owner. You know, he gets himself involved in areas that other owners wouldn't really. You know, in terms of like even when he was out on the pitch and he appeared to be having a little bit of a go at Nuno that time after the game. Look, the surprising bit here, Jeff, is with regards to the release clause on Morgan Gibbs-White. If there's a release clause for a player, which there has to be nowadays, there's a number in all of the players' contracts now. Of course, that is going to get out. Agents will know, and the player will turn around to his agent and reiterate exactly how much that release clause is. And then if there's any talk about potential moves, then that release clause that is supposedly supposed to be private is common knowledge. And then it's a case of how you go about it. I do agree that once it's all well and good hitting a release clause number, but you've still got to have permission from the owner of the player, the club that owns the player, to be able to talk to him. Again, I read nowadays, so many times I'm reading that players are about to join a club, Jeff, the fee hasn't been agreed, and yet the personal terms have all been done. That never happened in my day. First and foremost, you got the nod from your club saying, look, we've agreed a fee for you, you can go and speak to so-and-so. Even if you've been speaking to him for a week on the phone, you still couldn't do it. There had to be a correct order and a correct process. Whereas now it seems to be a bit all over the place. So I can understand Forrest getting the hump a wee bit, but I can only imagine the deal's going to happen at some point.
Steve Parrish, by the way, tweeting this morning, let's put this they missed the deadline nonsense to bed. He said, let's say me, Josh, David and everyone other than Eagle Football had placed our shares in a blind trust before March the 1st. 3 random people would have had control of the club since then, but by UEFA's interpretation of the rules, we'd still be out of the Europa League. Very, very hard to swallow if you're a Palace fan. Really hard, because Palace earned their place.
Oh, didn't they
They earned their place, no question. Now then, amazing test match going on at the moment, Lords. Amazing series. In truth, India going from 43 for 1. They were chasing 193. Red-hot favourites. But a brilliant spell from Bryden Carson. Last ball wicket from Ben Stokes has left the tourists on 58 for 4. What a final day we have coming up in this test match. Let's look back on it and ahead with cricket commentator and journalist Chetan Narula. Morning, Chetan.
Morning, Chetan.
Morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
Look, it's a pleasure, Chetan. I just made a little note here. I'm not sure whether you'll agree or not. This has got to go down as one of the great test match series, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, from an Indian perspective, when we had Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma retire just before the series squad was announced, and, you know, the new Indian Test cricket era started, really, the expectation was a bit on the down low, but the way the guys have performed over there, it's been absolutely brilliant. And, of course, I mean, English Test cricket nowadays is all about entertainment, isn't it? Baseball, a bit batter-friendly wickets, a bit different than what we really expect in England. But yes, this has been absolutely phenomenal if you look at the first test and then the second test and now this third test. Despite the first 3 days that were a bit slow, absolute cracker in waiting today.
Yeah, Chetan, top sport is always best when there's an edge to it, and I think if you're watching it, there's an edge to these matches. I mean, we saw that with Siraj having a bit of a pop at Duckett when he went out. Is there a danger that it could spill over a little bit too much or not?
No, I don't think so. I mean, isn't it about entertainment these days? You want to entertain the spectators and the audience sitting back at home. So, yeah, in the words of former India coach Ravi Shastri, I just saw on Twitter that he mentioned a little hanky-panky is good enough. I think that adds to the entertainment value. So, look, the last half an hour on the last 2 days have been absolute top-notch entertainment. So, yeah, a little bit of that is good enough as long as it's just banter and stays on the ground.
I mean, obviously, the match itself is in an amazing position. India still need 135, 6 wickets left. I mean, so much must depend on KL Rahul and Pant as the next pairing. I know they've got, still got people who can get runs, Jadeja and Washington Sundar and so on. But once either Pant or Rahul has gone, you're into the all-rounders, and England will think they've got a chance.
Yeah, I think India left the door open last night. A very unnecessary 30 minutes precipitated by Karun Nayar's dismissal. He was shouldering arms. I'm not sure what he was doing on that delivery, really. But yes, the first 45 minutes, 60 minutes today are going to be absolutely crucial. KL Rahul, he can just hold one end up together. Rishabh Pant is Rishabh Pant. He'll do what he does. But again, I think the first 45 minutes, if he can also just stay put at the crease, then the game could turn once again. And England do know, I think that's just absolutely clear, that one more wicket, or even if they could get both of them, both Rahul and Pant, then it's their game to lose. And 135 runs, 6 wickets, it's just so nicely balanced. I don't think we'll need the entire 3 sessions today. I think 1.5 sessions should do it. Look,
Chetan,
absolutely fascinating day.
It's been absolutely brilliant. Look, if England come out on top of this, just explain to me how India can have so dominated the series so far and yet find themselves 2-1 down.
They haven't won the big moments, have they? Or haven't done that enough. Even in Leeds, I think they surrendered, the lead a few times going into the break, the last half an hour, whether it was lunch or tea or, in this test match on, I think, both of the last days going into stumps. Even day before, I think the last hour, they could have scored at a higher clip or maybe even declared when they were just there or thereabouts and have a bowl at the English top order for the last 45 minutes. You have the world's greatest fast bowler in Jasprit Bumrah. They didn't do that. So, yeah, just the last bit in different sessions has cost India, perhaps.
Yeah, never mind, Chetan. Look, it's absolutely in the balance. And one thing is for sure, this series has shown that Test cricket is the best form of cricket. Thanks very much indeed for joining me, mate.
Cheers, guys.
Just fun. Even if you're not a cricket lover, I mean, it is the atmosphere, the edge, and the brilliance of people like Jasprit Bumrah, and last night Braden Carse as well. Just a joy to behold.
Fantastic.
Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Find everything you need for your landscaping project in stock and available for delivery. Terms and conditions apply.
We will be finding out if Chelsea fans have changed their tune on Enzo Maresca.
Brought in Maresca, who I think was the best of a bad bunch. I don't have anything against Maresca, but he's not given me much reason to have hope.
Host of Chelsea Fan TV, Alex Harris, will be with us in around 15 minutes. We're taking your calls this morning, Chelsea fans. Can you really claim to be the best club in the world? What do other fans make of it all? And what about the Americanization of it all? Halftime shows, boxing stars, style introductions, Donald Trump on stage for the trophy lift. Is football heading in a wrong direction, or is that all part of the entertainment package? 03717 223344. Give us a call. And that was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Join the club and get low trade prices. Find out more at travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
He plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
It's a kind of magic. It's a kind of magic. A kind of magic. One dream, one soul, one prize, one goal, one golden glance of what should be.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend is with me, playing a bit of Queen. A story in the Daily Star this morning. Queen have been crowned as the top tribute act for Brits, with ABBA and Whitney Houston just behind.
Is that right?
Yeah, would they be top of your tribute bands?
Well, I mean, again, I don't actually go and see that many tribute bands, Jeff, to be perfectly honest with you. I'll tell you what I did watch, because there's been all the Live Aid 40th anniversary as programmes have been on the box over the last week. And I actually watched one a few nights ago, and Bob Geldof was actually saying that he wasn't sure about having Queen at Live Aid, Jeff. He genuinely was, even though at that time they were still very big, he wasn't quite sure whether they were the right fit. And he openly admitted it in this documentary. And of course,
they were sensational.
Freddie went on to be unbelievable.
They were sensational. Look, I love tribute bands. The best thing about some tribute bands is the names.
Oh, the names are great.
I mean, a couple of spring to mind. Proxy Music. Fake That. Fake That is absolutely brilliant. And a bit on the darker side, Abattoir.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love them. They're great. Some of the names, and I've got to say as well, some of them, Jeff, very, very good.
Yeah,
I mean, they make a proper living, those guys and girls, when they're really good and they really do play properly. But some of them really fun.
And if you've seen a tribute band with a great name, again, 81089, we would absolutely love to hear from you. Chris, who's a Wolves fan, says Donald Trump missed a trick. He should have done a John Terry and gone on stage in full kit for the trophy lift, which is brilliant.
When Donald handed the trophy over, Jeff, did no one tell him, right, Donald, you give the player the trophy and then you do
exit
one.
left.
You go. You move.
Yeah. Nick says, come on, guys, the Club World Cup, just a glorified bunch of friendlies to warm up the new season. Some competition that was concocted by a bunch of millionaires for entertainment. I mean, what were the prerequisites to even get in? Pompey Adam, morning Adam, regular contributor. Morning, boys. Probably because I'm of a certain age, but I remember when halftime entertainment was a cup of Bovril and a hot dog.
Exactly.
Adam, so do I, pal. So do I. And now England sailed into the quarterfinals in impressive fashion in the European Championships. A 6-1 win over Wales in their final group game, setting up a quarterfinal with Sweden on Thursday.
England coming forward now with me. Inside right channel. Beaver Jones in the middle of the back post. Here she is! Yes! Aggie Beaver Jones with her first goal in a major tournament. 6-4 England. What a night for Serena Wiegman and the Lionesses. Into the quarterfinals and in style. Everybody's in on the act. It is 6-1 against Wales.
So let's talk about the Women's Euros for a moment or two, shall we? And it was interesting before that match. Shaban's back with us. Interesting before that match, there was a lot of talk from the Welsh camp saying it's in our DNA they want to beat the English. It was a no contest in the end, but it was some performance from England.
Yeah, I mean, they were absolutely incredible. The last two games, they've been so good, especially since that first opening game defeat against France. I think they got the shock of their lives. I think it's probably what they needed, that bit of a shake-up, that reality check, and they've been absolutely on one since. But 6 goals to 1 over Wales last night. That means England have finished runner-up in Group D and are going to face the Swedes in the next game on Thursday, which is straight to a quarter-final. We think about Sweden, we think about the Alessia Russo back heel, which was against Sweden in the semis last time the Euros were here.
We think about the fact they demolished Germany.
Yes, 4-1 in that game, and that's the thing. I actually think we've underestimated Sweden going into this competition, and I'm not sure why, because for quite some time they've been one of the top 5 ranked teams in women's football, so I don't know why they haven't really been considered. Germany were one of the favourites coming into this competition, so the Swedes kind of handed them their backside in that game. Therefore, I think the Lionesses will be approaching this game very, very differently, that's for sure.
And of course, look, you can't look too far ahead, but I'm going to, because that would then mean a semi-final against Spain.
But you know what? Anything's possible.
Are they the best team, Shaban, Spain, you've seen so far?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, Adrian Durham's out there and he can't quite get over just how good they are to watch. They're a different gravy, a level above everybody else. But it has been tight between the two of them over the last few months. I mean, England did beat Spain at Wembley. That must have been back in February, and then Spain beat them since. Of course, they managed to get to a final together in the World Cup. Spain are world champions. England are reigning European champions. So this could go anyway.
I mean, it's easy to say England have beaten Wales by 6 goals. But we remember that opening game against France. How much have they learned? How much have they improved since then?
I think they needed that mentality kind of shake up, to be honest, Jeff, because we know that they're a talented squad. I felt there was a lack of character in that game, and see the French, they can have an off day. They haven't. I mean, you look at Republic of Ireland, Andy, and their most historic win just last summer beat the French 3-1, you know, in Cork. That was a massive game, a massive night for Ireland, but the French just had an off night. They couldn't click, they couldn't get going. They seem like a different side in this competition so far, and teams are fearful of them. Whereas last night, Netherlands then had the advantage over France, so that group was coming down to goal difference, and you're looking and going, hold on a minute, where is Vivianne Miedema? Is she going to come on, score another couple of goals? They needed the goal difference. Will the Netherlands go through along with the Lionesses and the French be sent up the road? But listen, they were just clinical at the end of the day. Absolutely unbelievable.
And if you lose your first game in tournament football, Shaban, you are backs to the wall. You are under pressure. You are very much staring down the barrel of going home and finding things very difficult when you get back. So credit to the Lionesses in that respect. That first game wasn't good. France were superior, but since that point, games, even though they might have been expected to win them, still got to get it done, and they've done that well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we say, it's against the Swedes. If they can get past them on Thursday, then it's either Norway or Italy in that next game. So you're kind of looking at a different kind of path there, a winnable path, that's for sure. And I could see them getting to another final. I could see it being very, very possible. Do you think you can win it again, Jeff?
Well, they can win it again. They can win it. Look, one thing about Spain, I'll tell you what, you've seen a bit of Spain. Really impressive going forward. Really impressive with the way they press. But defensively, they are not so secure, not so impressive. I think England can score goals against them. So, look, let's get past Sweden.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first thing, isn't it?
One step at a time. Just by the way, on the subject of Wales, I went to Wales on Friday, and every kind of country needs it for women's football, especially I think here in kind of our own doorstep. And I went to Wales, and there was young girls, I'm talking age 4 and 5, going, can we play football today? Can we go on to the pitch? And I just think they've done the bit. They've made it. They've got to their first major tournament. Fair play to them. Hats off. That'll change the landscape for little girls.
Yeah, I mean, they'd have loved to have done better, but
of course they would have.
They've made the tournament finals, and that's the big thing. We're asking for tribute bands names. Here's an anonymous one: Newcastle-based Oasis tribute band, Hoasis, which is brilliant. Hearts fan in Edinburgh, Alan says there's an Aussie cover band of Sweden's finest called Aboriginal, and these are my favourites, and they're unnamed. Bruce Springclean and Paddy Goes to Holyhead. It's absolutely brilliant. We're getting absolutely thousands of tribute band names, so do keep them coming. Shaban, thank you very much.
Thank you, Shaban. Thank you.
Coming up next, we'll ask Chelsea Fan TV host Alex Harris whether it's annoying that Donald Trump will be all over the Chelsea celebration pictures forever.
Chelsea are officially the best football club in the world. The Conference League winners beat the Champions League winners, PSG, 3-0. It was, of course, Cole Palmer who stepped up on the big occasion and bagged a brace and an assist. Blues boss Enzo Maresca is proud of what his team produced.
Especially against, PSG, that, as I said 2 days ago in the press conference, I consider them the best team in the world, with one of the best managers in the world, fantastic player. So today has been top achievement.
The victory in front of watching US President Donald Trump sees Chelsea bank around $100 million in prize money. European football expert Andy Brassel told us there's been a common denominator in PSG's struggles.
You have to say that in a year that Paris Saint-Germain have dominated so far, it's the English clubs that have given them the biggest trouble. Enzo Maresca maybe doesn't quite belong to the elite coaches yet. I think this would be a card to say he's on his way.
England women will face Sweden in the Euro 2025 quarter-finals after thrashing Wales women 6-1. They finished second in Group D, while France went through as group winners. Serena Wiegman says England's early loss to the French maybe wasn't the worst.
That gave us also the urgency to to do things better as a team on the pitch, getting the connections better, and of course with that loss, the urgency came, and I think the team really responded well on that.
At Wimbledon, it was Yannick Sinner who wrote his name into the history books and became the men's singles champion after beating Carlos Alcaraz in 4 sets. He becomes the first Italian ever to win the tournament. Golf now, and Rory McIlroy just fell short at the Scottish Open, losing by 2 shots to American Chris Goddard. And England needs 6 wickets to beat India and claim victory in the 3rd test at Lords. India need 135 run. Play resumes at 11, and we will have all the live updates for you on talkSPORT.
Good morning, 3 minutes past 7 o'clock. It is Monday the 14th of July. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Build your own car deal online or with a few clicks. They make buying your next car easy. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend is with us right through. Uncle Tammy asking about names of tribute bands. Martin in Wakefield has suggested the Meatloaf tribute band in Yorkshire, Bat Out of Hull, which is pretty good. And there's another one on the same theme as well. Kieran in Leicestershire says Pete Loaf. Pete Loaf, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Got the Reet Hot Chili Peppers, Jeff, apparently a band based in the north of England.
Yeah.
So I like the sound of that.
The Reet Hot Chili Peppers, brilliant. I love it. Do keep them coming. On the way for you this morning, England fast bowler Steve Harmison will join us to build up what will be a fascinating, probably nail-biting day 5 in the 3rd test between England and India. Remember, India need 135 to win. England need to claim 6 wickets. Former England and Australia head coach Eddie Jones will be with us after the British and Irish Lions battered an invitational 15 on Saturday. Sort of a phony war, that, though, isn't it? First test match coming up this weekend. And heavyweight boxer Fraser Clark will join us to look ahead to the massive fight coming up this Saturday, live on talkSPORT, between Usyk and Dubois. We will talk about it a little later. But first, Chelsea club champions of the world. Yes, it really didn't happen. Somehow the champions of Europe, PSG, were shocked by a Cole Palmer-inspired Chelsea.
The shot's blocked, but here is Palmer with the corner, and Cole Palmer has scored for Chelsea. They take the lead in the Club World Cup final, and Cole Palmer rediscovers his form on the very biggest stage. Cole Palmer with the coolest finish you will ever see.
It's a superb finish from Cole Palmer.
And here's Palmer in space now, right-hand side of the penalty area. Palmer comes in field onto the left foot again. Oh, he's done it again! Cole Palmer with another wonderful goal, and he is writing his name right across this Club World Cup final. Two scintillating curlers from Cole Palmer.
Oh, what a player Cole Palmer is. When he's confident, doesn't he make it look so easy?
He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. Chelsea, I think we both agree, were absolutely brilliant on the night. People will say that, they had an easy run to the final, that it's a meaningless competition. But it's in black and white there now in the record books. They won the Club World Cup and they demolished PSG in the final.
They absolutely did that. And just listening to Dean there talking about Cole Palmer, they were almost like Messi-like at his finest, the way that he sort of passed those into the corner beyond Donnarumma. Seeing Donnarumma make so many unbelievable saves in Champions League football during last season, shots that hit at him hard and look like they're destined for the top corner. Cole Palmer there has kept them ones nice and low across the ground, tucked them into the corner beautifully. The whole performance was out the top drawer. They started brilliantly. They very much had a game plan not to sit and be passive and wait for something to happen, to make it happen. Got after PSG, denied them the ability to get their game going. And I haven't seen a team do that to PSG throughout the entire campaign last time round. Chelsea were truly excellent, absolutely deserve it. 3-0 didn't flatter them at all.
No, it didn't. But the more you read about the tournament, though, Cole Palmer was the Golden Ball winner. And I just had to say to you a minute ago off air. So what's the Golden Ball winner?
Superior player of the tournament, I'll have you know, Jeff.
And Robert Sanchez has won the Golden Glove. I mean, for goodness
He made some good saves yesterday, didn't he? Did make some decent stops yesterday. But look, I don't think we'll ever, football fans in this country will ever totally really buy into that as a tournament. And all that half-time stuff, pre-game, end-game, whatever, all of that just makes it worse to me. I think it cheapens the whole event the harder they try with it. But certainly Chelsea as a team and as a club, they went there, they've thrown themselves at it, they've committed to it, and they have come home as Club World Champions, and that is no mean feat.
Dean has texted, he said, having changed to a 4-2-3-1 and with two exciting strikers, I'd be amazed if Chelsea don't at least challenge for the title this season. They should have another crack at signing Maignan, the goalkeeper, though. Let's take a call, 03717 223344. Billy is a Blue. He's given us a call. Morning, Billy.
Morning, Billy.
Morning, Andy. Morning, Jeff. You okay?
Yeah, how are you feeling this morning?
I'm at York Station. I'm struggling. I'm a little bit rough. I'm not going to lie. I come straight home from work last night and had a few beers, and next minute it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I've got to be up at 6:30. So, yes, I'm a little bit rough this morning, but happy. And lads, they were unbelievable last night. They were absolutely unbelievable. I just said to someone sitting on the train phone, I said, the teams they played during the leading up to PSG weren't really 10 out of 10 teams. We can all admit that. But last night, to beat that PSG side like we did, Cole Palmer to turn up, he hasn't had a good season. Okay, he hasn't scored for a while, but on big occasions, Chelsea turn up. Look at Man City when we beat Man City in the Champions League 2002, 2003.
Yeah,
we were completely written off, and last night completely written off. But big games, we turn up, we show up. And to be fair to Enzo, I called the show a couple of weeks ago with Cundy and O'Hara and Maresca. He wasn't for me, but now he's sort of proven himself to the Chelsea fans, and hopefully going forward, the Chelsea fans now give him a chance to relax and just get on with his business.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And what's going to be interesting now, Billy, is what the club decide to do. Look, they've made a lot of money out of this tournament this summer, which is crucial as well. And what's going to be interesting now is how they decide to, and what they do with that money, how they decide to spend it, in what areas. You mentioned goalkeeper. Anywhere else?
Again, I say the Chelsea fans are slagging off Sanchez going back to a month ago. They probably still are, but he's proved himself last night. Some of the saves he made last night was, well, out of this world. And for him to go and get Golden Glove, for all the Chelsea fans slagging him off and then all of a sudden go and get Golden Glove, he's proved himself. He's proved himself. But again, it's whether the Chelsea fans now going up to the start of the season, we're going to be on his back sort of thing.
Billy, get yourself a couple of paracetamol, a cup of strong coffee. Have a great day, mate.
You can't.
Thank you.
Thanks, Billy. Look, one game, and listen, one very important game, one big game, Jeff, but you can't.
Of course,
Billy was saying there he's proved himself last night. Look, what he's done, he's had a really good day and a good night. And Robert Sanchez had a lot of stick as the Chelsea stopper. And last night, he produced some great saves, as Billy says, helped the team massively. I still don't think, just on the basis of last night, that's going to be enough moving forward to absolutely convince all the Chelsea faithful. Maybe I'm wrong. Give us a call.
Let's have a word with the host of the Chelsea Fan TV, Alex Harris. Morning, Alex.
Good morning. How are we doing, guys?
Morning, Alex.
Yeah, really good. Now, look, I'm going to get straight into this. You weren't a fan of Enzo Maresca replacing Mauricio Pochettino last season. Have you changed your mind?
Wow. I mean, Jeff, when I last spoke with you about Maresca, I mean, that was the heat. That was when it was... Can't think of a time where I was more angry, to be honest with you. We had protests. We had... God, I mean, it was just... From January onwards, it was again and again and again and again. Every single week, the frustration grew more and more. And then, obviously, we managed to capitalise and get top four and win the Conference League. And at that point, I did say that, you know, he did earn respect, Maresca. You know, I still wasn't a massive fan. I'll be honest with you. I do think that there's still a number of things that you can look at throughout the season. The style of play, the use of certain players, Reece James being one of them. But then again, you look at the lineup yesterday, we saw James in midfield. And I was thinking, what are we doing here? Why are we playing James in midfield? We've got Andre Santos. We've got all these options to choose from. And we've decided to go with Gusto on the right and James in the midfield. But I have to say, I mean, we totally dominated in the midfield. And for a player that before Maresca never really played in that position for Chelsea, I mean, it was top class. And I struggled to see anyone within that side that I could say it had a bad game. And that is a testament to Maresca's tactics, his setup, and also the mentality of this team as well, because I thought that we were just here to pick up a paycheck. And we've done that, but we've taken the trophy home as well. So I don't know if anyone felt like I did about Maresca and has changed their mind. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think it's good to be open. I think it's good to be wrong sometimes. Yeah. And you know what? I can sit here and I can say with a smile, I do think I was wrong.
So, Alex, what's the expectation now for the Premier League season?
Oh, man.
Does that change?
I mean, I don't think... Some people said to me at the beginning, I was in Atlanta, I left after the quarterfinals, and, you know, I was interviewed by American fans saying, do you think we're going to win the competition? And I said, are you kidding me? Is that a serious question? And we've actually turned out to be a team that have gone and beaten PSG, whether we deserved it or not, based on the draw we had before. You know, we beat Fluminense, they beat Al Hilal. Al Hilal beat Man City. We beat Benfica, beat Bayern Munich. So, you know, we did beat really good teams to get to that point. I don't believe that you can use that as an excuse to criticise a team. And then obviously PSG as well. But I don't think that we'll win the Premier League, but I do think we'll be up there. The main thing now is that we challenge for a longer period and show some progression in domestic competition. So that means getting, you know, into a semi-final or a final, if not winning a domestic cup, as well as maintaining your Champions League position and obviously trying to progress in that competition as well.
Alex, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Alex.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Terry, as a Liverpool fan, has been talking about the competition, and basically says Chelsea won he said, I was glad Chelsea won just to bring PSG down a peg or two. They didn't show much class losing, Anna.
I tell you, that's a good point.
Right. You're absolutely right, Terry.
It all got, look, I don't know what happened at the end there, Jeff, but clearly it was all getting a little bit out of hand. And then when you see Luis Enrique in there as well, and he was having a bit of a dip at one or two, that all got a little bit messy and unnecessary, didn't it, in the end?
Yeah, it does. Talking about what Chelsea do with the money that they've earned from that, Andy suggests Chelsea should find out what the release clause is for Matt Sells. That would really wind Forest up.
Oh, yeah.
And some more tribute act names from Fez in Salford, Non-Jovi, Phony M and Blobby Williams. Thanks very much indeed, Fez. Up next, Dom King will join us following an emotional day at Deepdale yesterday as Preston North End and Liverpool paid a touching tribute to Diogo Jota.
Plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend is with me. We just heard from Alex Hall from Alex Harris. I beg your pardon, Alex. Mind you, that's not going to seem like any sort of insult compared to what's coming, mate. Who is host of Chelsea Fan TV. Charles has texted in and said, "What was that donut talking about? He's got no faith in Chelsea. He's supposed to represent us on Chelsea TV. We are going to win everything." Thank you, Charles. Thank you for that positivity. And I'm sure Alex thanks you as well. Now, the Lions warmed up for the first test against Australia. It's next weekend. They beat an invitational 15-48-0. All eyes on Andy Farrell and who grabs the starting spots for the first test next weekend. Here's talkSPORT's Alfie Reynolds with all you need to know.
So competition is going to be fierce, but who's in and who's out? What players would you say are locked onto the team sheet and who is probably nervously waiting to find out if they have made the cut? I think if you look at the guys that it would be a huge shock for them not to be there, you've got Dan Sheehan at hooker, Mara Itoje obviously as the captain in the second row, Jamison Gibson-Park at scrum half, Finn Russell at fly half, just to name you a few. There are probably a couple of others as well. Ellis Genge, for example, who's had an exceptional tour. But what about the question marks? Let's start with the back row. We always knew this was going to be an incredibly competitive area of the team. Some world-class operators, Josh van der Fleer, Jack Morgan, Ben Earl, Tom Curry, and the man of the moment, Henry Pollock. I think there's a great chance that Andy Farrell is going to name a big-bodied number 6 in Ollie Chesham or Tyg Byrne. I think Jack Conan will then start at 8. I then think it's between Curry, Van der Fleer, Morgan, Earl and Pollock for whether they start at 7 and who comes off the bench as well. Outside of that, another name to keep an eye on is going to be who gets picked at inside centre. Will it be Sione Tuipulotu or will it be Bundy Aki? Hugh Jones will be the outside centre because of Gary Ringrose's head injury assessment. But who do they go with at 12 out of those two guys? Or the real left field shout of Owen Farrell. He's only played about half an hour on this tour. I think the first test will come too early for him, but it's certainly a position to keep an eye on.
Well, of course, he was introduced at the weekend, having arrived late in Australia. Will be an interesting shout. We will talk about Owen Farrell a little later. The British and Irish Lions taking on the Wallabies in the opening test of the series this Saturday, live and exclusively right here on talkSPORT in Brisbane. Coverage starts at 10. Kickoff is at 11. And now, it was a very emotional day at Deepdale yesterday as Liverpool took to the field for the first time since Diogo Jota's death in a pre-season friendly against Preston. Prior to kickoff, the whole stadium joined in by singing "You'll Never Walk Alone." Let's look back on an emotional day with the Daily Mail's Merseyside writer Dom King, who was there on the day. Morning to you, Dom.
Hi, Dom.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Andy. How are you both doing?
Yeah, very good, thanks, mate. Look, it must have been an incredibly difficult day for the players and the staff of Liverpool, but it sounds like the entire occasion was managed with a great deal of dignity.
It was, and you know what? I think the first thing that it's vital to say, Jeff, is just how well and how distinguished Preston were in making sure the occasion went as well as it did. They were fabulous hosts. They're a club with an incredible tradition, and everything they did to facilitate Liverpool over the past week was well. I know it was well received by the club, and they couldn't have handled it any better. So, you know, they had a huge role to play in making sure yesterday went very well. But it was quite a disorientating afternoon, Jeff, and by that I mean you handed the team sheet and you've seen sort of names like Mamadashvili and Jeremy Frimpong, and there was lots of promising youngsters coming through, and the sun's shining. You're thinking, this is a normal pre-season day, and you know everybody should be excited. And then you know, obviously, it jolts you back into you know what really matters at this moment in time. And it's the tragedy around Diogo Jota and his brother, and it's not going to be something that Liverpool are going to be able to move on from quickly. I think the scene at the end when the players went to the away end and they just stood and they stood still and clapped along with the fans as the fans were singing Jota's name. It was one of the most powerful and poignant things I think I've seen in a football stadium in years.
Yeah.
I thought Arne Slot, who has been absolutely brilliant, by the way, in the way he's dealt with everything. I thought he summed it up really when he said, the situation of football clubs, and he said, nothing seems to be important if we think of what has happened. But we are a football club and we need to train and we need to play again, whether we want to or not. I just thought that summed up their situation.
Jeff, do you know what? He's handled himself. He's only been at the club a year. He's never put a foot out of place. And again, everything that he said yesterday in that TV, the interview with LFC TV, when he was talking about laugh if you want, cry if you want, do what Diogo would have done, and that's what they're trying to think of all the time. Every decision at the moment is being based around how he was as a guy, in terms of he just treated everybody the same, and the words were exceptional when he said nothing's important at the minute. Football's not really important, but we will have to start taking a step back, a step forward when the time comes.
What about the performance, Dom?
Do you know what, Andy? It was as I said, it was very disorientating, because you want to, your natural instinct is to think, how can we analyse the new signings? What are they going to show us? What some of the young lads. Nguma and Trey Naoni, very, very, very promising, and they showed flashes. But every time you wanted to make a football-related thought or a football-related observation, you'd hear Jota's name being sung, and it was impossible to make any kind of football-related observations. It was, and I think the best thing that I could possibly say is it was an exceptional occasion to be at, in such tragic circumstances. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it was a privilege. It was a privilege to be there for it yesterday.
Yes,
it was a privilege to witness how both clubs handled it with such class and decorum. But equally, I was looking around at my colleagues in the press box, and I was looking at the guys from Liverpool's website who I've known for years, and they're absolutely broken at the minute, Andy, because he was such a great lad, and every tribute you're hearing about him is heartfelt and sincere.
Yeah. And Dom, you're absolutely right, because we've had a number of texts this morning praising Preston North End for their part in all of this. And football and football fans take so much stick, don't they? But on occasions like this, they show that togetherness that is such a part of the game. Dom, thank you very much.
It was a pleasure. As I said, Jeff, I'm glad you said that, because it was Preston were fabulous, and it needs to be just recognised. But particularly, just one final thing, if I may, how Ben Whiteman, the captain, walked out before the game on his own, solemnly, slowly, and he presented the floral tribute in front of the away fans. Everything was handled perfectly by them, and I think the way the Liverpool fans were with them after the end, it spoke volumes.
Dom, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Dom.
The Daily Mail's Merseyside writer, Dom King. You're listening to talkSPORT Breakfast with Jeff Stelling and Andy Townsend.
Chelsea are officially the best football club in the world. The Conference League winners beat the Champions League winners, PSG, 3-0. It was, of course, Cole Palmer who stepped up on the big occasion and bagged a brace and an assist. Blues boss Enzo Maresca is proud of what his team produced.
Especially against, PSG, that, as I said 2 days ago in the press conference, I consider them the best team in the world, with one of the best managers in the world, fantastic player. So today has been top achievement.
England women will face Sweden in the Euro 2025 quarter-finals after thrashing Wales women 6-1. They finished second in Group D, while France went through as group winners. At Wimbledon, it was Jannik Sinner who wrote his name into the history books and became the men's singles champion after beating Carlos Alcaraz in 4 sets. He becomes the first Italian ever to win the tournament. Golf now, and Rory McIlroy just fell short at the Scottish Open, losing by 2 shots to American Chris Goddard. And England needs 6 wickets to beat India and claim victory in the 3rd test at Lords. India need 135 run. Play resumes at 11, and we will have all the live updates for you on talkSPORT.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Aaron Clark. Build your own car deal online, all with a few clicks. They make buying your next car easy. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend is with me. Bit of Oasis on a Monday morning. Can't beat it.
Can't beat it. And they had their gig, didn't they, in Manchester, Jeff?
They did. But that song brings back a lot of memories for me because I went to the 2002 World Cup in Japan.
Right.
And we're right towards the end of the tournament, and I'm with Chris Kamara and the producer of Soccer Saturday, and then a guy called Ian Condren. And we have spent the entire night in a Japanese bar. And the bar is belting out music. And it's 6 o'clock in the morning. We decided to head back to the hotel room. And as we're leaving, what should come booming out?
Yeah.
But Oasis, Don't Look Back in Anger.
And what happened? Did Cammy say, "Oh God, we got to stay for one more"? Did he?
No. We walked down the road, singing along with it.
Right.
You know, and ready for our hangovers that we were going to nurse unmercifully the next day.
I mean, there's pictures in the press today, Jeff, of locals, I think, trying to get into that gig at the weekend. You know, they've got someone's got a ladder. They're trying to get over a fence, and they're getting in from all angles.
I mean, amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously, one man not looking back in anger, not yet anyway. Forgotten City star. I think that's it's a bit harsh to call him a forgotten star at the moment. But Jack Grealish, look, he went viral at the Oasis concert over the weekend when he was captured speaking to some Man City fans about how much he loves them.
I watched every treble. I watched every trophy list on the treble. I was there for every single one. Pleasure meeting you, brother.
You know what, bro? I love City more than anything.
I love City more than anything. City more.
And do you know what I love more than anything?
And me and my fingers.
Fans. Bro, the best fans in the world.
One of the things that people love about Jack Grealish is that he will stand and talk to the fans.
Absolutely.
You know, feels like he's one of them. But he's got a big decision to make.
He's got... Look, I don't know Jack that well. I've spoke to him and met him on a good few occasions. I wouldn't, but I don't know him that well. But you can just tell with Jack Grealish, he is what he is. He is a very talented player. He's a lovely boy, and he's a good man with a good heart. You can see that. But, Jeff, you're right. Something's got to happen now for him this pre-season. Something's either got to kick in back into his game. Pep strikes me as one of those managers that I'm not sure he's for changing. Once he's kind of made his mind up a bit, I think you might be better off saying, yeah, well, get me out then, let's go. But the problem is now, it's like Marcus Rashford. These guys are on so much money and they cost their clubs not in Rashford's case, but certainly Jack, £100 million player, you can't get out the door that easily. It's not straighthtforward.
Who would you see would want him? That wasn't meant to be disrespectful, by the way, because I love him as a player.
Yeah, look, I think could I see him operating as he's getting older now, Jack? He might have to play. He might prefer to play somewhere a little bit further in field as a kind of number 10. Could he play in that role for a number of clubs? I think he could. But as I say, it's not straightforward getting someone like Jack Grealish to your club. There are certain clubs that he's now been operating at the very top end of the football pyramid, and he'll want to stay there, Jeff. I don't think he'll want to just go and jump in anywhere. He'll want to do that. Could he go abroad and play? Yeah, that sort of challenge is always a good one for someone like Jack at his age now. But he's too good to be clicking his heels and getting 5 minutes here and there, even at a great club like City. I think he's got to get out somehow.
Yeah. And he's not a kid anymore.
No, he's not.
He's got to get on with it now.
Yeah.
Ash has texted another tribute act in for us. He said the Neil Diamond tribute act, Nearly Diamond. If you've got any tribute acts with fantastic names, let us know. 81089.
And I've got, Jeff, Michael Buffer, of course, who did his boxing style introduction at the Club World Cup game just before Chelsea and PSG took to the field. His next gig, because it seems like Michael's getting involved in everything. Could you see him at Wimbledon? Standing there with the mic.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Can you imagine that? Oh, I'd love to see that. I really would.
Yeah. Got a text here saying, unbelievable, Mike. This tax system is more communism, not socialism. That's Simon on his way to work. Simon, I think you texted the wrong station, pal. Well, I'm hoping so anyway, because I don't quite know what to make of it. Anyway, on to tennis now. Wimbledon came to a close yesterday, the men's final. Top two players in the world. The world number one, Yannick Sinner, came from a set down to beat defending champion Carlos Alcaraz to take his first ever Wimbledon title. Let's hear from the two of them now, starting with Sinner.
I'm very emotional, no, even if I don't cry, but it feels emotional because only me and the people who are close to me know exactly what we have been through on and off the court, and it has been everything except easy.
Every time we play against each other, I think our level is really high. I don't see any player playing against each other, having the level that we're playing when we face each other.
Well, let's get a bit more on the final and say a very good morning to former British number one, Barry Cowan. Morning, Barry.
Hi, Barry.
Good morning. If Michael Buffer ever makes an appearance at Wimbledon, that's it. I'm done.
Brilliant. Look, mate, world number one, world number two. I thought it was a bit anticlimactic in the end because Carlos Alcaraz was just so far below his normal level.
It was a strange performance. I thought going into it, Alcaraz was the one I tipped to win, and was very difficult. It was almost a 51-49 for me. And the reason I went for Alcaraz was that when he reaches that highest level, no one can live with him. And I think we saw that at the end of the first set.
Oh, brilliant point.
Wasn't it good?
Fantastic,
that shot,
Barry.
The set point was outrageous.
Yeah.
But that was the pinnacle. And it was from that moment on that he started the second set with a double fault. Sinner was a machine. Sinner played very well. But I kept watching that match, guys, thinking the next amazing period of Alcaraz's tennis is coming. And it never came until actually 4-3 in the fourth when he had a couple of break points and Sinner responded. But Sinner was a deserved champion. But Alcaraz just wasn't quite right, and it sort of left me thinking. I didn't watch the Man City PSG game, but sometimes when you have dominated and you have been on an unbelievable run, it's almost that last match is a step too far. And I'm just wondering whether for Alcaraz, probably would have beaten everyone else, but he needed to be at his very best against Sinner, and he wasn't that yesterday.
Yeah. How impressed were you with Sinner's tournament, Barry, as a whole? Again, he was exceptional, and yet, obviously, against Dimitrov, could well have been going home, couldn't he? And going out.
Well, he got lucky with his first three matches. He got a good draw. Then, of course, he got lucky against Dimitrov. He still might have won that. I mean, even down 2-0, I've seen great champions come back to win in 5. But I thought right at the end of the tournament, he showed why he's become the complete player and how he's changed almost the movement on grass. If you think of the great grass court champions in Sampras and Federer and how well they moved, Sinner now, he's sliding. You know, he's moving on a grass court like he moves on a clay court. I never really thought I'd ever see that. And serving huge, and that was probably the key. Actually, I think in that third set when I felt both probably at the beginning of the third weren't playing at the highest level, Sinner started to find aces, because there were no aces in the first 2 sets, and I think there were 7 in the third.
Do you think that? Look, obviously, I know that Alcaraz won their clash in the French Open final, but this was so dominant from Sinner. Has this put down a marker? Do we now know the pecking order?
The pecking order for yesterday was Sinner. The pecking order at the US Open might be Alcaraz. I think these guys will flip. And we might have a situation like we had up until yesterday. Alcaraz has won 5 in a row. We might have a period now where Sinner wins 3 or 4 in a row. But I just don't see anything but these two being ones that are going to be the two that have that win the majors. I think that's 7 in a row now.
Yeah.
That Alcaraz and Sinner have split. I mean, great champions will find different ways.
Yeah. So
yes, Alcaraz will be disappointed that the best level wasn't there yesterday, but yeah, I mean, if it's not US Open, his time will come again. That I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, and Novak Djokovic, Barry. Now, I mean, was that some kind? I mean, again, I've read lots of comment about it was a changing of the guard and officially now, etc., etc. I mean, is that far too early to jump to that sort of conclusion?
Well, it is a change in the guard because, as I said, the last 7 Grand Slams, it's been Sinner and Alcaraz. I think that was the first Wimbledon final that Novak Djokovic wasn't in.
Right.
But I've also heard some ridiculous things where people saying, well, Djokovic should retire. Well, he's 3rd best player this year. Only 2 players have had better performances. I mean, he's reached all 3 semi-finals of majors. However, as much as I am a Djokovic fan and I would love to see him win another major, I don't think we can get away from the fact that if you take back now the last year, what's happened with his body. French Open, he got injured. The US Open, Wimbledon made final on 1 leg. US Open, he wasn't there mentally. Australian Open at the beginning of the year, he played an amazing match against Alcaraz, got injured. Here at Wimbledon, got injured. So I think that's the worry. And I think at his age, when you take care of your body like Novak does, I mean, here's someone I don't think anyone has looked after himself more than Djokovic. That has to be mentally draining when you feel that your level is there, and we know his mind is there because it is the mind of a champion. But your body is saying no. At some stage, that's got to be a period where Djokovic goes, can I really keep going through this? I hope he can, but we don't know.
Barry, I hate to end on a down note. Does it tarnish the event at all that both the men's and women's champions have had positive drugs tests?
I knew this was coming. I feel, and I think most of us feel, that Sinner 3 months and he didn't miss a major is probably not the right situation. But we kind of have to move on. But when you have the situation that he had, and he's able to come back and play the French and then win Wimbledon 3 months, I kind of throw it back. I think if that was you, me, and other people, I think we probably would have got more than 3 months.
Yeah. Barry, thank you very much indeed.
Nice one, Barry.
Great to speak.
Thank you, mate. Barry Cowan reflecting on Wimbledon. By the way, you might have missed the big event at Wimbledon this week.
Why?
But the Mail Online carried the big story. I'll just give you the headline for it because you might have missed it. Isla Fisher narrowly avoids Sacha Baron Cohen at Wimbledon. Well, there's the big story of the day. Thank you, boys, because we might have missed that. Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. From excavators to skips or cement mixers to pressure washers, Travis Perkins Hire has all your landscaping needs covered.
Big second half of the show coming up. Steve Harmison will preview a fascinating final day at Lord's. England need 6 wickets. India need 135 more runs. Whoever wins will be 2-1 up at the series. Former England and Australia head coach Eddie Jones will be with us as it's officially Test match week. The Lions, of course, beating an Invitational 15 by 48 points to 0 at the weekend. And British heavyweight boxer Fraser Clark will join us to build up to Saturday's enormous heavyweight fight between Usyk and Daniel Dubois. And that was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. It's easy to hire at Travis Perkins with a Travis Perkins trade account.
Plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Good morning, 7:49, Monday the 14th of July. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend is with me. We asked for your tribute band names. Anonymous text saying Carpenter's tribute band, The Joiners. Big Luke, who's a Bristol City fan, says he's got a friend who's a carpenter who does his own tribute act, calls it Ziggy Sawdust. Ian from Cambridge, Spandex Ballet.
I like it.
Thank you, boys. Do keep them coming. By the way, somebody who is not a fan of the Club World Cup. Okay, Spike in Merseyside. So a lot of passion goes into this text, Spike. PSG, a team who carried all before them over 10 months, finally played one game too many in the heat of a USA summer, and Chelsea sneaked through and stole a trophy, which epitomised how tacky FIFA would want us to interpret the game. From pundits sucking up to Infantino to orange presidents and fighter Jeffs. Not for me, Jeff. Thank you, Spike. Guess you won't be watching in 4 years' time when presumably it'll all happen once again. Some of the headlines you're waking up to this morning. India spinner Washington Sundars claimed that India will definitely win the third test this morning. Donald Trump stole some of Chelsea's limelight as he hung around on stage as Reece James lifted the club World Cup trophy, and Rory McIlroy was beaten to the Scottish Open title by world number 158. Have you ever heard of him before?
I hadn't, Jeff.
Chris Gotterup.
Didn't he play tremendously well those closing holes for someone like him playing against McIlroy? Not easy, and he did brilliant, held it together.
Well, bodes really well for Rory at the Open, you would have to say. He was also sporting a new buzz cut.
Yes.
Here he is explaining to CBS why he decided to shave it all off.
You know, I'm getting a little grey, as everyone probably knows, and I stupidly thought that by going shorter, it would take the greys out. And if anything, I think it makes me look more grey. So, but it'll grow back. That's the good thing. It'll be perfect length for the Ryder Cup in September.
Yeah. Open Championship tees off at Royal Portrush this week. Live commentary on talkSPORT 2 from 7 a.m. Thursday morning. Easiest way to listen. Download the free talkSPORT app and swipe across to talkSPORT 2. Andy, you'll be looking forward to it?
I am looking forward to that very much, Jeff. I think, again, open golf is so different. I love the Masters and I love all of that. And, of course, we've seen the US Open recently. But the Open is just a completely different game, and the summer we've had here as well makes those courses, I think, so tough. It really does. The way the ball just runs and rolls and rolls and runs, and you trying to, even for the best players, sometimes they have to bump things into the pin, and I think it's a real test for those guys. It's a real challenge for them. So yeah, looking forward to that.
I mean, Rory's game obviously in better shape than his hair is at the moment, but a lot's going to depend on how he copes with the pressure of playing at home.
Yes, massive expectation on him. And I think, as you just rightly pointed out, the way that he played up in Scotland, I think suggests that he's kind of got his head back together and his game is there and he's ready to be very, very competitive. But again, it's amazing in open golf how you can be so thorough, so good for 3 days, and then if you had 3 or 4 bad holes and just lost it a little bit, then all of a sudden a tournament slipped through your fingers. So that's why it's so ultra competitive, such compelling viewing. I will be glued to it.
Yep, me too. And it'll be interesting to see, won't it? You know, when we have the boys on from Coral later on, I'm imagining that Rory will be favourite or thereabouts.
Yeah.
What price Chris Gotterup, I wonder, after yesterday? And he played well, by the way. He played really well. Held it together fantastically. Now, more than 3 years since Arsenal last signed a striker, looks like the frustration for the fan base may be about over. Lots of reports last night suggesting that Sporting Lisbon's Victor Gyökeres could be announced as an Arsenal player as early as today. Let's find out more with talkSPORT's chief football correspondent Alex Crook. Morning, Crookie.
Good morning.
Morning, Crookie.
Well, it seems to have gone on forever, doesn't it, Crookie? Have Arsenal nearly crossed the finish line with Gyökeres?
Yeah, I think they have, Jeff. We first reported in the midst of Royal Ascot that he was telling his inner circle that he expected to join Arsenal. Obviously, it's taken a while for that to come to fruition. There were reports in Portugal over the last few days the deal was stalling or maybe even in danger of collapse. I always felt that was brinkmanship, Sporting maybe leaking to their local media to try and put pressure on Arsenal. But as you say, it looks like they're finally going to get their man. A fee pretty much agreed now of £63.5 million. That's inclusive of performance-based add-ons. He's already agreed terms on a 5-year contract. And the key to getting this deal over the line, as far as we're told at talkSPORT, is Gyökeres' agent waiving his fees in order for Sporting to bring down the price to what Arsenal were willing to pay. And as you say, more than 3 years since they last signed an out-and-out number 9. This does feel, I think, to Arsenal fans like it could be the missing piece in the jigsaw, because defensively they're obviously very solid, particularly when Gabriel and Saliba are fit. Declan Rice, probably one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Last season they've got a top goalkeeper in David Raya. They've got good options out wide. They have been lacking that killer instinct, and that was why Liverpool finished ahead of them last season. I think they scored 17 more goals than Arsenal did. Gyökeres obviously not proven in the Premier League, but he does have experience of English football and the hustle and bustle of it with Coventry City. So I think this could prove to be a really decisive signing for Arsenal.
Yeah.
And it's shaping into a good summer, isn't it? They've got Christian Norgard through the door. Noni Madueke, I know, has divided opinion amongst Arsenal fans, where that's going to be another option in those wide areas. And they've signed Zubimendi as well. So Arsenal getting their business done early.
Yeah, some good business. We've seen, Crookie, what Chelsea did with João Pedro. Got the deal done, flew him out to the States, chucked him in, and he's scoring goals and looking the part straight away. So can we expect something similar, bearing in mind that Gyökeres has played football in this country before? Can we expect that he can go straight into that Arsenal team and have an impact like that?
Yeah, I think that's key, Andy. When you look around at the lack of number 9, we've spoken about it a lot on this programme. We had a chat with Dean Saunders, didn't we, Jeff, a few weeks ago? Yeah. Tried to work out how much he'd be worth in the modern game. But bearing in mind there are a lack of number 9s, they looked at Šeško, they'd have looked at Ugo Ekitike over at Frankfurt, who's attracting interest in Newcastle. But I think they decided that because Gyökeres had come through the system at Brighton, he had that really good goal-scoring season at Coventry when he fired them into a playoff final. They feel he's ready to go in the Premier League. And I think Arsenal is the perfect club for him. And I Manchester United were talked about because of the Ruben Amorim factor. I think it would have been more difficult for him to go into that setup and hit the ground running. But at Arsenal, where the team is already successful, there's already a really good dynamic in that dressing room. They played Mikel Merino as a makeshift number 9 last season, and he scored goals. Yeah. So I think he will get chances at Arsenal to really be a success in the Premier League.
Crookie, Morgan Gibbs-White, obviously Evangelos Marinakis, steam coming out of his ears, threats of legal action. Is that move to Tottenham going to go through?
I think it will, Jeff. I mean, it's very difficult in 2025 to prove an allegation of tapping up because it goes on all the time. Gyökeres had agreed a 5-year contract before the two teams had agreed a fee. That is just the way that modern transfers work. I think the frustration for Forest is that the £60 million release clause in Gibbs-White contract was supposed to be confidential. They feel that confidentiality has been breached, but as I say, I think it's very difficult to prove that. Tottenham are remaining calm. I think a lot of Marinakis' frustration, from what I'm told, actually, is with the player himself, who gave his word that he would only leave Forest this summer for a certain calibre of club, and Manchester City and Arsenal and Liverpool maybe. And I think Forest are surprised that he wants to join Tottenham, and Marinakis really is just throwing his toys out the pram, not for the first time.
Yeah. Crookie, finally, might have some news, some good news for United fans with regards to Mbeumo?
Yeah, I say that loosely because we've been hearing for some time now that this deal is close, but Manchester United really keen to wrap it up before they head off for their pre-season tour of America. The two clubs have only been a couple of £1 million apart in terms of the guaranteed fee for a few weeks now. Negotiations continue. He's made it clear, and Mbeumo, despite interest from Spurs, he only wants to join United, and they've got to get their finger out. There's a lot of frustration amongst the Manchester United fan base at the moment because you look at what Arsenal are doing. I've mentioned their window so far. Manchester City have signed, 4 players before the Club World Cup. Chelsea, as you mentioned, have signed Gittins and João Pedro. Obviously, has had a brilliant impact over in the States. Liverpool, the champions, strengthening from a position of power. I think United fans feel with only one signing through the door and a team that finished 15th last season, they're in danger of being left behind. So I think this is a pretty key deal for Jason Wilcox and Omar Barada to get over the line.
Absolutely. We haven't even had time to mention the big move of the weekend, which is Andy Carroll signing for Dagenham and Redbridge. I tell you what, there are some National League South centre halves who are quaking in their boots right now. Crookie, thanks very much.
Cheers, boys. Have a good day.
I got another great tribute band name. Dave in Wakefield says he's been watching for 18 years a proper tribute band called the Small Fakers. You have to be from my generation to understand it, really.
There's Andy Carroll, Jeff, just quickly, I know we're going to break. Andy Carroll, has he got a share in the club or something
I think the idea is he's buying a share in the club. The club's just been taken over. The previous owners were incredibly unpopular with the fans. So the club's been sold. I'm not sure that it's Qatari ownership, something like that. I think Andy Carroll is going to take a share in that as well. They were relegated last season on the last day of last season. So they're in the National League South. I really like them as a football club.
Yeah.
You get a great welcome when you go down there. So I wish them and Andy Carroll well. It's an absolute coup for them, by the way.
Yeah.
Absolute coup. Up next, we're continuing to ask whether Chelsea are really the undisputed kings of the world. Well, they are.
Chelsea are officially the best football club in the world. The Conference League winners beat the Champions League winners, PSG, 3-0. It was, of course, cold Palmer who stepped up on the big occasion and bagged a brace and an assist. Blues boss Enzo Maresca is proud of what his team produced.
Especially against, PSG, that, as I said 2 days ago in the press conference, I consider them the best team in the world, with one of the best managers in the world, fantastic player. So today has been top achievement.
The victory in front of watching US President Donald Trump sees Chelsea bank around $100 million in prize money. European football expert Andy Brassel told us there's been a common denominator in PSG's struggles.
You have to say that in a year that Paris Saint-Germain dominated so far, it's the English clubs that have given them the biggest trouble. Enzo Maresca maybe doesn't quite belong to the elite coaches yet. I think this would be a card to say he's on his way.
England women will face Sweden in the Euro 2025 quarter-finals after thrashing Wales women 6-1. They finished second in Group D, while France went through as group winners. Serena Wiegmann says England's early loss to the French maybe wasn't the worst thing to happen.
That gave us also the urgency to to do things better as a team on the pitch. Getting the connections better, and of course with that loss, the urgency came, and I think the team really responded well on that.
At Wimbledon, it was Jannik Sinner who wrote his name into the history books and became the men's singles champion after beating Carlos Alcaraz in 4 sets. He becomes the first Italian ever to win the tournament. Golf now, and Rory McIlroy just fell short at the Scottish Open, losing by 2 shots to American Chris Goddard. And England needs 6 wickets to beat India and claim victory in the 3rd test at Lords. India need 135 run. Play resumes at 11, and we will have all the live updates for you on talkSPORT.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Build your own car deal online, or with a few clicks they make buying your own next car easy. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend is with me. Martin in Wiltshire has been to see a police tribute band called the Rozzers. It's great. On the way for you in the next couple of hours this morning, we'll ask 2-time Ashes winner Steve Harmison about the final day of the 3rd test match today, England up against India. It's absolutely in the balance. Of course, the Ashes coming up in December of this year as well. Former England-Australia coach Eddie Jones will tell us if Henry Pollock's comments about a potential Lions whitewash are unnecessary. He said 3-0.
It's gone early,
very much on the cards. Oh, yeah, why would you do that? And we'll find out from British tennis star Dan Evans if Jannik Sinner's doping ban makes it hard for the public to fully appreciate them. But first, Chelsea are officially World Club champions. They've beaten LAFC and S Tunis, Benfica, Palmeiras, Fluminense. I mean, none of that matters. They beat PSG and they did it fair and square. talkSPORT's Troy Deeney is out in New York. He caught up with some Chelsea fans afterwards.
Started at first half. It's possibly the best Chelsea performance I've seen in a long time.
I mean, even Sanchez in goal, absolutely superb.
Yeah.
Palmer is he's going to go down as one of the best at the moment. And Pedro, I mean, I didn't even know too much about him.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I've seen him at Brighton, but in the 3 or 4 games he's been here, he has been superb. And it looks like he links up well with Palmer as well, so it bodes well, really does.
Yeah, I was going to say Sanchez, fair play to him with all the things he's had digging him out. He was superb, and he was superb in the tournament.
Yes.
Not just today, but I think all the players, Neto looked good, Enzo Carcedo, to do that in front of so many Colombians as well. No, I'm proud of all the boys. Superb.
Happy Chelsea fans. One of whom knows nothing about João Pedro, which makes me just scratch my head. If you're a football fan, how can you not know anything about João Pedro? I mean, he could be potentially a really big figure for Chelsea this summer.
No, look,
this window.
He certainly could, Jeff. Do you know, the one thing with João Pedro will be how many goals he will score. I think that will be, look, we're not going to know in the fullness of time. We'll find out, but he's not what you would have called a prolific striker, but I tell you what, he's got so many great facets to his game. I love the way he links with players. He's brave, he's strong enough, he's quick enough, and he showed that he's certainly got the composure when he gets himself in behind defences with his goal yesterday, which was brilliant. I think he's a significant signing. Look, I've watched a lot of Nicholas Jackson, as have a lot of Chelsea fans and everybody else, and it's all looked, in the main, a little bit much for Nicholas Jackson, trying to be someone who can make the difference at the very top end of not only domestic but European football and world football as well. João Pedro, I think, has got technically the sort of game where he can make a significant difference. Even as well, Jeff, Liam Delap, when he come on the last 10 or 15 minutes, he had a couple of chances, didn't he? Forced a great save from Donnarumma. He also looked like he was really eager to get out there and make his mark and show people what he can do. I think those 2 signings bode really well for Chelsea. I do.
Jake says, please stop the Chelsea loving. They're the only team that can spend £2 to £3 billion in 3 years on 1,000 players, sell their women's team to themselves, and win a Mickey Mouse tournament that gets them out of financial trouble. Spare a thought for Palace.
All the best teams. Who was that, Jeff? What was his name, that chap?
Jake.
All the best teams have always spent tons of money, mate. All the best teams. Go back in any era. Fergie's era at United. They always spent massive money for the best players. And that will never change.
Look, Ryan is even more cutting. He said the Club World Cup has no history, no legacy, no prestige, and is only relevant because of money. So it's fitting that Chelsea are the first winners.
I agree with a few of those sentiments. I do. Where this actually... what this means for other football fans that have been watching it, I think we'll all forget about it pretty quickly. However, for Chelsea as a young team, an improving team, an emerging team with a young coach, you've got to look at it from their point of view. It is significant. It is. And the money that they've raked in out off the back of it can also have now a bigger boost and effect on their preparations going into a new Premier League season.
Look, let's look back on Chelsea's win and the Lionesses' passage into the quarterfinals of the European Championship with a man who watched them both. Okay, I know they were on at the same time, but he watched them both because his talents are endless. It's Adrian Durham. Morning, Aid.
Yeah, good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Andy.
Morning,
I had the Chelsea game on the screen in front of me while I was at the Lionesses game in St Gallen. You know me, if there's a game of football on, I'll be watching it somehow.
Brilliant. Does Chelsea's win in that tournament, and particularly the manner of the performance against PSG, change the way other European sides and indeed other Premier League sides will view them in terms of the challenge that they will provide this season?
I think it's a massive statement win from Chelsea, and you could say it's a one-off game, and we'll see in the fullness of time how much it means. But one of the big questions we had about Chelsea was their defensive strength. Well, they've just kept a clean sheet against PSG, who were banging in goals against pretty much everyone. So that, to me, is a huge statement. And when you've got João Pedro starting his Chelsea career the way he did in the semi-final, when you've got Cole Palmer looking absolutely world-class as he did against PSG, I think there's every reason for Chelsea fans to be optimistic optimistic next season. And in terms of the Club World Cup as well, what I will say is this. I understand why people have misgivings. At the start of the tournament, I was one of those that's just saying, well, let's see how it goes. Let's remember how the National Team World Cup first started way back in 1930. England didn't bother with it. They didn't enter the World Cup until 1950. Had they entered it from 1930 onwards, we might have won a few more by now. But we didn't take it seriously then, started to take it seriously. Look at us now. It could well be that the Club World Cup will be exactly the same. But massive statement win from Chelsea. They were a joy to watch that first half.
Yeah, they certainly were. I'll tell you what, Thomas Tuchel's got a pick, hasn't he, between Cole Palmer and Phil Foden. I mean, that's going to take some sorting out. I'm sure that, again, much will depend on how they all go about it. Phil Foden, not his best season last season, but trying to get those two. Can those two play in an England team together?
You know what's really interesting with that? They obviously know each other well, having grown up both at City, not at the same time, but certainly at the same club. I think with Phil Foden, let's remember the season before last.
Yeah.
He's come out and said in recent times that, you know, he's hoping to get back to his best. That season before last, when he was Player of the Year, undisputed Player of the Year, he was absolutely fantastic. The goals were flying in, the assists, the passes. Every single game, it seemed, Phil Foden was absolutely magnificent. If he can get back to his best, and Cole Palmer's at his best, I would love to see how Thomas Tuchel solves that, in inverted commas, problem of trying to get them both into the same side. But what Cole Palmer's goals did last night, they made me, as an emotional, reactive football fan, think, oh, England have got a chance to win in the World Cup. If you're that positive about a player, then it's not a bad thing, is it?
Well, Serena Wiegman seems to have solved a few problems, doesn't she, Aid? You know, crushing win over Wales last night. And people now are going to expect them to go all the way. But they do have a difficult pathway.
Well, I know your favourite subject, Jeff, is my marks out of 10. She had a 1 to start with. There's been 2 9s since then.
Whoa.
She's
Only
got
9?
everything right, Serena Wiegman.
Well, why didn't she get a 10 then? You just said she did everything right and you gave her 9. Come on.
Because we conceded a goal, Jeff. You need a clean sheet for a 10, I'm afraid. It's a bit like Lauren James was going to get a 10 and then she missed a sitter at the end of the first half. And in Lauren James, I think they have the key, absolute joy to watch. If you love football, you love watching Lauren James. She was orchestrating things. She was literally standing still on the ball, pointing and telling players where to go and then feeding them with the perfect pass that cut out Wales players. It was an absolutely magnificent performance from her. Russo got the goal she deserved as well. Ella Toone with a goal too, and she was absolutely fantastic. There was a lot to love about the performance, but there's a huge gulf between where Wales are with respect and where quarter-final opponents Sweden are. And I was at the Sweden-Germany game on Saturday night in Zurich, and Sweden put them to the sword. Germany had somebody sent off. They then wilted. They had no real game plan. Sweden absolutely buried them. And there's attacking players that England have to contend with, that Sweden have got, like Blackstenius, the Arsenal Champions League winner, and their keeper's arguably the best in the tournament so far. This is a big step up in class, although England have faced France, they faced the Netherlands, 2 good sides in the group stage. So maybe the tough group stage will stand England in good stead going forward. But they are banging in goals. They're playing well. As Serena said, they look like they're connecting together on the pitch as well as off the pitch. It all bodes very well for the Lionesses here in Switzerland.
Yeah. Look, they've got to get that Sweden game one first, Aid, potentially then a semi-final against Spain.
Actually, it works out the other side of the draw. We get Norway possibly in the semi-final, and Spain won't be till the final. At one point last night, France were losing to the Netherlands, and that would have meant England finished top, and that would have meant Spain in the semi-finals. It's all very complicated, but I'd rather leave Spain to the final itself, because I've been to see them, and they are absolutely sensational when they click. There are some weaknesses there. They always do concede goals, seemingly, and England score goals. So it could be one of the best finals we've ever seen, but let's wait and see. There's a couple of games before that, and let's just wait and see. But there's no doubt Spain are the team to beat at this tournament. They've been sensational, but England are right behind them.
Thanks, Aid.
Cheers, Aid.
And you will hear England against Sweden in the quarterfinals of the Women's Euros right here on talkSPORT. Kick-off is at 8 o'clock on Thursday. Lorena's texted in. There's a Jam tribute band called Malice, which is fantastic. She said, I'm reliving my youth through them, seeing them in Cambridge on Friday, and can't wait. They are fab. Up next, move over Coldplay, Robbie Williams and Doja Cat. whatever, whoever Doja Cat may be. Andy will tell you how halftime should really look next.
Plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend is with me. Club World Cup had its moments, didn't it? From the blazing heat, the 2-hour delays, Donald Trump on the podium with the Chelsea players at the end, Michael Buffer introducing the fans, the halftime show, the delays. It had it all. And that music, by the way, just a little bit of a medley of the acts who performed at some point during the final in sort of Super Bowl fashion. But a halftime show, come on, this is football, not American football. To quote Jeremy Clarkson on Twitter, halftime is for a pie, not singing. By the way, Jeremy, when did you last have a pie at a football match at halftime? I would love to know. Anyway, that got us thinking this morning, if we were in charge of a halftime show, what would we do? Andy, you got any ideas?
Do you know what? I've thought about this all morning. I thought about what we could do, I don't know, something that might be a bit quintessentially British that you could bring into a... How about nothing? How about nothing? Just for a change. Just the guys go off and then you're there, you turn to your friends, you're having a chat about what you've just seen. As you said, someone goes and get... Now all of a sudden you'd be petrified to leave your seat for fear of missing out on something. Well, let me tell you, the stuff, look, and Robbie and Coldplay, listen, you know, they've all got their reasons why they want to do this stuff. Doja Cat.
Yeah, we can imagine what those reasons are, can't
I've never heard of Doja Cat, and I won't be. I don't think I'm going to be downloading it in a hurry either, Jeff, when I get out of the studio. However, good luck to all that lot. But how about we go back to something that's just that football does, and what football does at half-time. There might be a little penalty competition out there, as you said earlier, on the field, but essentially it's for fans to turn around. They can go and have a drink, go and get something to eat, go to the loo, and just have a chat about what they've seen.
And that's the fact of the matter. If you've been to major tournaments, what you do at half-time is you go to the loo and you stand in a queue that is 8 miles long, and you might just get back in time to the second half kick-off. You are not watching Coldplay, you are not watching Doja Cat or anybody else. So if you want to put some kids on have a penalty shooter, do what they used to do at Southampton, might do at some other places as well. And they'd have like 4 fans. 2 teams of 4 fans, and they'd race round the pitch in a relay with a football at their feet, and it was a brilliant little bit of half-time entertainment, which took 2 minutes. And that was it. You don't need all this other nonsense.
When you get the kids involved at half-time, it's a thrill of a lifetime for them to go out there on that pitch where there's a sea of heads all around you, people in the stands. It's wonderful for them to have something like that. We don't need all that. Look, the Super Bowl does what the Super Bowl does, and it's great, and we love that for it. If we start throwing all this at our game and the way that we see it and view it, I'm of the opinion, bin that, leave it. Let's go back to what we do best at half-time. That's get the boys off the field and then go and sort yourself out, go and get a drink and get ready for the next 45.
Let's get some odds with Coral, shall we, from the coolest Doja Cat in Rochdale. It's John Hill. Morning, John.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for it. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Look, Jack thinks we're fogies because we haven't heard of Doja Cat.
Yes.
John, are you a big Doja Cat fan?
Can't say that's in my collection at all, Jeff. No, I've never listened to Doja Cat before, but Andy's spot on about half-time there. You couldn't have put it any better, Andy. I'm the same as a Rochdale fan. I'll nip to the loo, I'll grab a pie. You'll probably check your phone for the half-time scores or wait for them to, around the grounds on the tannoy.
Yeah.
So,
John, you
don't need it.
You don't have to queue for the loo, though, at Rochdale at half-time, do you?
No, you said there was an 8-mile queue. I don't know where you're going, Jeff, but it's definitely not Rochdale or Hartlepool for an 8-mile queue.
Brilliant. Look, mate, as far as that is concerned, Chelsea brilliant on the night. We all accept they were fantastic on the night, beating PSG. Deserved winners. Has that affected their Premier League odds at all?
It has actually significantly. We've seen quite a bit of support, not just last 24 hours, but throughout this tournament. They were 12-1, Chelsea, 4th best. They're now 15-2, 7.5-1. So that is a significant move for Chelsea. And look, they've just beaten the European champions PSG, not just beaten them, absolutely played them off the park. So they're going to have full of confidence, aren't they, going into the season? But look, we know this is ideal preparation for City and Chelsea, is it? I won't be surprised if they get off to a slow start. But in terms of belief, surely, and this will give them a lot of confidence.
Oh, this gives them massive confidence, John. It really does. It was a complete performance from them, wasn't it, last night? It wasn't, as you quite rightly point out, it wasn't like they've nicked a goal and sat there and had to bank up and dig in. No, far from it. They showed they can play, they can mix it, and their game was too hot for PSG to handle.
Yeah.
Final day of the test match today. India need 135 to win it. England needs 6 wickets. Can you separate them, John?
Yeah, we can separate them. Yeah, I'm headed there later, Jeff. So really looking forward to the action at Lords. I think India are favourites from 8-15. KL Raoul's going to be the key man, I think, this morning. The opener looked very assured yesterday. England 6-4, but they were key wickets. It was great last hour at Lords yesterday. It really was. Ben Stokes charging in, Jofra Archer charging in, and they've given themselves just that glimmer of hope, haven't they? I think, as I say, they need to get KL Raoul early. If he's still around after an hour and a half, I think India will coast a victory. England were poor yesterday with the bat. They should have got to 250, and that would have been, I think, a really good score to put up on the final day on this particular pitch. But who knows? Lords produces special things. It's 6 years to the day that England lifted that World Cup trophy at Lords. I just wonder if we could have another special day there with England coming out on top at the end of it.
Yeah, we were talking about golf earlier, finally, John, and we were wondering, obviously, Rory, I would imagine, after coming very close up in Scotland, will probably go into the Open as favourite. But any other prices?
Well, he's right up there. Yeah, he's 6-1, Andy, second favourite, just behind the one Scotty Scheffler. But fair play to the American Chris Gotthrup yesterday, because he held his nerve, didn't he, to get over the line up in Scotland for that victory, denying Rory McIlroy. But signs are good for McIlroy. I think this is the best he's played since that US Masters triumph earlier in the year. Just looking at some of the others in there, Shane Lowry always has a good game for links golf. I think he's 22-1. Tommy Fleetwood, we have an English and a British winner, 22-1 again there. Victor Hovland is always a player that's on my radar for these big majors. He's 28-1. And Matt Fitzpatrick, 40-1. So it's going to be a great week at Royal Portrush. And all the big names heading across, John Lamb, DeChambeau, they'll be there as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who gets hold of that claret jug.
Brilliant, John. Thanks very much indeed.
Cheers, John.
Cheers, guys.
And that was a look at the latest odds, all thanks to Coral 18+, gambleaware.org.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for it. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Couple of quick texts for you. Paul, who's a Villa fan, says, "Hi lads, you're so right about half-time. It's hard enough to get tickets to watch the team you love without them being sold to non-fans that just want to see Robbie Williams," which is an interesting point. And Mark Butcher says, "A bunch of old fogies. Doesn't matter that you don't know Doja Cat, because that entertainment is not for you. It's for the young ones that still have some bladder control." We'll be back in 2 shakes, after which we'll ask legendary England bowler Steve Harmison whether England can restrict India with the ball on day 5.
Chelsea are officially the best football club in the world. The Conference League winners beat the Champions League winners, PSG, 3-0. It was, of course, cold Palmer who stepped up on the big occasion and bagged a brace and an assist. Blues boss Enzo Maresca is proud of what his team produced.
Especially against, PSG, that, as I said 2 days ago in the press conference, I consider them the best team in the world, with one of the best managers in the world, fantastic player. So today has been top achievement.
England women will face Sweden in the Euro 2025 quarter-finals after thrashing Wales women 6-1. They finished second in Group D, while France went through as group winners. At Wimbledon, it was Jannik Sinner who wrote his name into the history books and became the men's singles champion after beating Carlos Alcaraz in 4 sets. He becomes the first Italian ever to win the tournament. Golf now, and Rory McIlroy just fell short at the Scottish Open, losing by 2 shots to American Chris Goddard. And England needs 6 wickets to beat India and claim victory in the 3rd test at Lord's. India need 135 run. Play resumes at 11, and we will have all the live updates for you on talkSPORT.
Good morning, it's 8:33, Monday the 14th of July. Hope you're having a good morning so far. I think the sun will probably be shining down on you once again. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with the Arnold Clark app. Buy a car, opt into Arnold Clark Rewards to enjoy access to great giveaways and everyday perks. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend is with me. We're here through until 10 o'clock. We're just 5 days away from the Lions' first test against Australia to kick off what could be an incredible few weeks. Every day this week, former Lion Ben Kay will be running us through his top 5 moments. Here's today's one, starting with number 5.
I'm former British and Irish Lion Ben Kay, and as we build up to the Lions' first test down under against the Wallabies this weekend, I'm going to be counting down my top 5 favourite ever Lions moments. So let's start with number 5.
Back it's to Jonathan Davis, beats 1, beats 2, gets the overlap and gets the ball to Sean O'Brien for one of the greatest tries ever scored.
Sean O'Brien's try in the first test in 2017 in Auckland, a length of the field effort.
Started in their own 22, they've got the length of the field, in, out, left, right.
Absolute classic Lions try, and it probably just gave a bit of hope in that first test. Although the Lions didn't come out on top, it was we can match it with the All Blacks. And that moment there was the time I thought, actually, the Lions have got a chance on this tour.
Crowd have gone absolutely wild. We're going wild in here as well.
Don't forget, the talkSPORT network has been your home of the Lions for the last 12 years, and this year is no different. We have been and will continue to bring you live and exclusive commentary of every single Lions game on the tour. That includes all 3 test matches, with the first one getting underway this Saturday in Brisbane. You won't want to miss it.
You don't need to miss it. The Lions taking on the Wallabies in the opening test of the series this Saturday. It's live and exclusive right here on talkSPORT. Coverage starts at 10, kick-off in Brisbane at 11. And stay tuned for just after 9 this morning. We'll be joined by the former Australia and England head coach, Eddie Jones. Now with half an hour of play to go on day 4 at Lord's yesterday, India were 43-1. They look to be cruising towards their victory target of 193. How different things were by the close of play, with the tourists reduced to 58-4. So they need 135 more to win. England need 6 wickets to go 2-1 up in what's been an absolutely fantastic series. Let's talk about this test match with the 2-time Ashes winner, Steve Harmison. Morning, Harmy.
Harmy, morning, mate.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we?
Yeah, we're really good. Look, we mentioned India looked to be cruising 43 for 1, but what a spell that was. All the hype before the match was about Jofra Archer, but what a spell that was from Bryden Carse.
Yeah, absolutely. It was brilliant. I mean, it was box office. This Test match for 3 days we've been asleep. I mean, it's been so boring. It's been a throwback to about 15 years of what Test match cricket was all them years ago. And then now it's just gone into fire. It really has. You know, Archer didn't start. He's a bit tired. He hasn't played for such a long time. He bowled 4 overs last night. You could see the body was a bit tired. So England needed an injection, and they got it from their captain Ben Stokes and Bryden Carse from.
We will be able to get him back, but
have we got you back, Harmy?
Yeah, I think so.
There he is.
Yeah. You just said, and Bryden Carse.
Bryden Carse went into overdrive. I mean, and there's a lot of needle. It's brilliant. The needle's been fantastic between two sides. They've been at each other. They've been, hammer and tongue. And you know what? Some people are saying it crossed the line. I don't think it has. I think it's what the series needed. And Bryden Carse ran down the hill from the pavilion end. And do you know what? Yeah, he might have just opened this game up for England because, like you said, England were in a position where you were thinking India might just sort of slowly limp over the line, 193. Now, more results are possible. England could win, India could win. We could potentially have a tie. I mean, it's not going to be a draw because we've got a fantastic sunshine at St John's Wood. But England, if they come out firing this morning, get a couple of wickets in that first 20 minutes, I'm back in England. I think England will win.
Yeah. Talking about, just on the bowling theme, Harmy, how impressed have you been with India's bowling?
India's bowling's been fantastic. It really has. I mean, the whole series has been a brilliant series from both sides. I mean, they've not played something. The batters have capitalised and scored some runs on some slow pitches, but in passages, the bowling has been electric. Bumrah is a class apart. He is the best in the world at this moment in time. Arguably the best seam bowler that's been in the last sort of 20, 30 years. But they've not had the backup in this Test match. They've had backup as well. They've had backup. Washington Sundar.
Harmy, so frustrating. He's gone again.
Yeah.
You talk about the needle in there and bowlers, and that Siraj is the one who is such a wind-up merchant. But I think he's such a wind-up merchant because he is so passionate about winning for his country.
Yeah. Is he the one that
he's the one. Well, he does everything. He's a heck of a good bowler as well, by the way. So we've completely lost Steve Harmison, by the way. I mean, St John's Wood is about 5 miles away from here.
Yeah.
So communications would naturally be a bit difficult, wouldn't they?
I didn't see that contact, Jeff.
No, there wasn't much contact. Honestly, it was just a shoulder brush, nothing more than that.
And did any one of them sort of step into the other one's path, really, in order to
they both
instigate
did,
it?
But they both did.
Right.
Siraj has come down the pitch, and then Duckett, who's out, has gone over to him and sort of leaned into him. So it was absolutely something and nothing. And Harmy's right. The
bit of needle's great.
The needle is great as long as it doesn't overstep the line.
Yeah.
And it hasn't overstepped the line. I was interested to see Harmy say he thinks England will win today, and I think they very well might. But this partnership now, KL Rahul and Pant. Now, Pant hasn't kept wicket in this match.
Right.
He sat and watched because of a finger injury, but we know what he can do. And then they got Jadeja, 72 in the first innings. They got Nitish, who got 30. They got Washington Sundar, who can bat a bit. I think he got 23, something like that, in the first innings. I think it's absolutely in the balance.
Yeah.
And it's just what cricket needs, isn't it? A series like this.
Yeah.
To wet, because some summers with the best will in the world.
Yes.
You get maybe Sri Lanka will come.
Yeah.
Maybe the West Indies will come.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't have quite the impact that India has. And then, of course, the Ashes to come in the winter as well.
And also what's been great, the weather we've had recently, it just when you know automatically that there's definitely going to be play and the players are finding a rhythm and getting right into it, it doesn't half make a difference to cricket as opposed to being stop-start off every 5 minutes and then back on. And we've had summers like that, you know, we'll probably have them again. But it's great at the moment that the guys can do it with full houses and everybody enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what impact. If England win this test, they go 2-1 up. The Indians are going to be looking at themselves and see, we were in a winning position in the first test and lost it. We're in a winning position in the third test and lost it. If that happens, you just wonder what effect that might have on them for the remaining 2 tests of the series. It's got to get into your mind a little bit, hasn't it?
No, listen, definitely, Jeff, definitely. Did you play much cricket?
No, I played at school. That was all.
Me too. That's all. That was all I ever really did. But lots of footballers. There's a load of football. I mean, the Neville boys, I think, are both avid cricketers, when they Phil and Gary. But lots of footballers down the years have played both and played very well at the top level.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Ben Stokes, I mean, what can you say about him again? Weighs in with that key wicket, the last ball of the day. Well, it became the last ball of the day. There are actually a couple left. And again, when Stokes is involved, you always think, we got a chance. Got a chance. Play getting underway at Lord's this morning, then final day. I think it's sold out, which I was really surprised by, because, you know, a lot of the time you can't give away tickets for 5th days of test matches, but this series has been very different because the matches have been going to a 5th day. I can't wait. I'll be going back to the hotel, going to bed and watching it from my bed. Right, let's take a look ahead to the next hour of the show with Benchmarks.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarks Kitchens and Joinery. Get trade prices on kitchens to suit all styles and budgets at Benchmarks.
Let's hear from you this morning. 03717 start that again. 03717 223344 is the number you need to get in touch and tell us what you would do for a half-time show here in England. talkSPORT's US sports reporter Brian T. Smith will be with us in the studio very shortly to tell us whether we can expect more of the razzmatazz in the World Cup next summer. Oh, goodness me, let's hope not. We'll also be building up to Super Saturday on talkSPORT. The Lions kick off their 3-test series against Australia, and we have Daniel Dubois against Alexander Usyk. Yeah, winner becoming undisputed heavyweight champion. It would be the 3rd time that Usyk had achieved that. Eddie Jones and Fraser Clark will both join us to kick off to that build-up. That was our breakfast preview with Benchmarks.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarks Kitchens and Joinery. All our Benchmarks kitchen doors come with a 5-year guarantee. Terms and conditions apply.
He plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally, and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Very nearly 8:48. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend is with me. That's Miley Cyrus. Was she there?
No, I didn't see Miley.
No.
I wouldn't mind if Miley was there, 'cause she's good.
So look, America may think they were throwing an incredible party last night. Not all football fans agreed. At the Club World Cup final, we saw Michael Buffer, the boxing announcer, introducing the teams. Robbie Williams, Doja Cat, Thames, Coldplay, Donald Trump staying on stage with Chelsea as they lifted the trophy. Here's the president speaking afterwards.
Johnny's a friend of mine. He's done such a great job with the league and with soccer, or they would call it football, but I guess we call it soccer. I'm not sure that change could be made very easily. It's a great sport. That's right. They said, could you hold this trophy for a little while? We put it in the Oval Office, and then I said, when are you going to pick up the trophy? He says, we're never going to pick it up. You can have it forever in the Oval Office. We're making a new one. And they actually made a new one. So that was quite exciting. But it is. It's in the Oval. Right now it's in the Oval.
Donald Trump giving his reaction to DAZN there. Well, the new one's got Gianni Infantino's name on it twice. Not once, but twice. Look, I mean, it was all razzmatazz. We've been asking for your calls. What did everybody make of the off-pitch antics, the half-time shows, the boxing-style introductions? 03717 223344. Get involved this morning. Let's get the American perspective of it all in the yellow corner of our temporary bunker. It's talkSPORT's US writer Brian T. Smith, or should I say Brian T. Smith. So Brian, we're skeptical, shall we say? About
I'm not sensing that at all. I'm not sensing any skepticism.
You're
from
not?
you guys.
Okay.
I feel like you have totally bought into the Americanization of Club World Cup.
So give us your perspective of how it went.
First off, let's get this out of the way. If Cole Palmer is not starting for England in the World Cup that actually matters next year, that is a serious problem. Number two, Todd Boehly deserves a little credit, all right? We've spent years ripping Todd Boehly on and on and on. What the heck are Chelsea doing? It looks like he might know what he's doing. They're in the Champions League, and obviously the answer in international football now is to have the deepest roster in the history of the game, and then you can win the Club World Cup. Seriously, though, I thought overall the Club World Cup being a precursor to the World Cup, to grow the game in America, to grow the game internationally, those last 3 or 4 matches, I think that's what we thought it would be all along. You had packed stadiums, you had good crowds, there was energy. I thought Chelsea showed up very, very well last night. Tip of the cap to them. Nobody was picking them to beat PSG, so that's all a positive. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. I thought that the halftime show was absolute rubbish. I mean, the halftime show was garbage. I've seen halftime shows in American high schools better than that. And the fact that Coldplay was involved in that, I don't know what Chris Martin's doing right now, but he needs to focus a little more on his day job, which is actually producing good music. Number two, the post game, we can debate whether the President of the United States of America should have been Chelsea's newest signing on the stage with him. Let's get into that. But I was just amazed that everything was so slow and plodding. And if you're gonna do all that and have these really elaborate American presentations, have it run like the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is bam, 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 efficient.
Yeah.
I just thought the whole thing overall, the presentation, it felt like you were watching something from Las Vegas in the 1980s. Yeah. It didn't feel elite. It didn't feel quality. It didn't feel top notch. And that's a shame because they had this incredible platform. And I just thought the whole thing was a bunch of meh.
Is this a precursor to what we are going to witness, Brian, do you think, next summer?
I think this is clearly where Gianni, Trump's apparent best friend in the sports world, wants to take it. I mean, you see the Saudi influence, you see the American influence. This is not the Premier League. This is not. Most importantly, this isn't championship. This isn't going out on a Wednesday or a Saturday afternoon and watching your club in your town. This has nothing to do with any of that. But it's a big world, right? I mean, it's not just England, and we've seen this in the Club World Cup and the kickoff times where you're kicking off games at 3 p.m. on a Monday in Atlanta, and you have 20,000 people in the stadium. They're doing that because they don't care about that. They care about the money and the TV and the streaming and the sponsorships, and it was all to set up the World Cup next year. I think the World Cup will be much because it's the World Cup,
and also all the broadcasters that are obviously going to be buying the rights to the World Cup for next year. They'll have their own TV. They'll have their studios. Jeff,
yeah, they'll cut away. They'll cut away
from all that.
You're not watching that junk during the actual World Cup. No. You're going to go to the TV studio. I thought the whole thing, though, being in New York for the NBA draft for talkSPORT, we have all this covered at talkSPORT.com.
Yeah.
Being there in New York a couple weeks before the final, there wasn't a buzz there. Honestly, there wasn't a buzz. I thought that they finally showed up for the final, and that looked really good. But the halftime show, the celebration, it just looked like a chaotic mess, and they needed to be better. I'm sure they'll be better for the World Cup. But I wasn't impressed by the Club World Cup at all overall.
Look, I mean, they're not going to put on this sort of entertainment when Uzbekistan are playing Jordan, for example, are they?
No.
Who both qualified for the World Cup finals. That is for sure. And it doesn't fit. You know, it took 25 minutes near enough yesterday. You know, the half-time interval is 15 minutes. You can't have players sitting in their dressing room wondering just when they're going to be kicking off the second half. I think the other issue, Brian, and it's something that none of us can do anything about, but obviously in the early part of the tournament, the weather was a really serious problem.
So this is actually my main concern. We can have fun with the halftime show and the post-game celebration, right? But I was in New York during the Club World Cup. Okay, we've had 3 heat waves here in the last 6 weeks or so. New York was abysmally hot. I mean, to the point that sweat is dropping off of you. You have to have the cooling breaks. What's it going to be like next year in America when you're playing all over America and you have thunderstorms, you have to pause matches, on and on. That affects the field of play. That affects what's going on the pitch. The reason Chelsea won the Club World Cup, 2 reasons. Number one, they play very well. Credit to Enzo Maresca, credit to Cole Palmer, on and on and on. But they had the depth to get through it. That's what no one's talking about right now. They actually had the roster depth. They have 4 goalies. They have 5 strikers. They had the depth to get through it, and the heat and all these pauses and these breaks. Most clubs don't have that when it comes to team football. When you have England, when you have the U.S., when you have Brazil, on and on and on. The weather is going to be a huge situation next year.
Let's just take a quick call on this because Peter is a Middlesbrough fan. It's always steamily hot in Middlesbrough. Peter, what did you make of it all morning?
It's the first time I watched the final last night, but putting a mic in front of a player at half-time, Andy, you want to get in the dressing room, listen to what your manager's got to say, and take it on board of what you've got to do, instead of, I know I'm going to say it, some females
that was asked a few questions, and you're right, in those sort of conditions that they're playing in, you normally want to get in a dressing room, you want to sit down, get some water on board, listen to what and you're right, it's just a bit of overkill all round.
The only thing is, Peter, the only thing is that Mark Cucurella wouldn't have minded it too much because they were winning 3-0 at the time.
That's true. That is true.
What I want to see where this goes, though, if I'm Thomas Tuchel, you have to look at all of this, right? And in the end, there'll be no excuses. In the end, no one's going to care about the heat or the cooling breaks or the halftime show. It's going to be, did you win or did you lose? Did you make the final or not? If you're England, if you're Thomas Tuchel, you have to figure out how to maneuver all of this, because this is what some form of this is what you will be dealing with in America next year, and everybody's on the same playing field.
Peter, thank you very much indeed for the call, by the way. I have to tell you that one thing is guaranteed is that the Club World Cup is in the spotlight.
Yeah.
You know, because if there hadn't been any of this stuff, you know, we'd have talked about Chelsea's victory and we'd have talked about the fact that actually it wasn't such a great tournament because the best clubs in Europe, at least, weren't there in the main. You know, exception being PSG.
And Jeff, just quickly, with regards to weather, I played in obviously the '94 World Cup in the States. And I remember one of our games, I think against Mexico, it was 118 when we took to the field in the stadium. It is but you just got to get on with it, you know, and somehow try to handle it. Get your rest in when you can.
The storms are the problem, aren't they?
They are.
It's the storms that are the issue. But look, in '94, I mean, forgive me, I might be completely wrong, but I don't think there were any weather hold-ups during the course of that.
I can't remember. No, certainly we didn't have any, and we were down in Orlando as well as New York. But no, you just look. You know, there's a lot about the stadium in America are brilliant. You know, they're state of the art, purpose built, and you can park there. Everyone can get there. It's great like that. Of course it is. But yeah, lessons to be learned maybe from the Club World Cup for sure.
Brilliant. Brian, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
It's an absolute pleasure, mate. Up next, we'll be asking the former Australia and England head coach Eddie Jones whether the Wallabies will be motivated by whitewash talk from inside the Lions camp.
Chelsea are officially the best football club in the world. The Conference League winners beat the Champions League winners, PSG, 3-0. It was, of course, cold Palmer who stepped up on the big occasion and bagged a brace and an assist. Blues boss Enzo Maresca is proud of what his team produced.
Especially against, PSG, that, as I said 2 days ago in the press conference, I consider them the best team in the world, with one of the best managers in the world, fantastic player. So today has been top achievement.
The victory in front of watching US President Donald Trump sees Chelsea bank around $100 million in prize money. European football expert Andy Brassel told us there's been a common denominator in PSG's struggles.
You have to say that in a year that Paris Saint-Germain dominated so far, it's the English clubs that have given them the biggest trouble. Enzo Maresca maybe doesn't quite belong to the elite coaches yet. I think this would be a card to say he's on his way.
England women will face Sweden in the Euro 2025 quarter-finals after thrashing Wales women 6-1. They finished second in Group D, while France went through as group winners. Serena Wiegman says England's early loss to the French maybe wasn't the worst thing to happen.
That gave us also the urgency to to do things better as a team on the pitch. Getting the connections better, and of course with that loss, the urgency came, and I think the team really responded well on that.
At Wimbledon, it was Jannik Sinner who wrote his name into the history books and became the men's singles champion after beating Carlos Alcaraz in 4 sets. He becomes the first Italian ever to win the tournament. Golf now, and Rory McIlroy just fell short at the Scottish Open, losing by 2 shots to American Chris Goddard. And England needs 6 wickets to beat India and claim victory in the 3rd test at Lords. India need 135 run. Play resumes at 11, and we will have all the live updates for you on talkSPORT.
Good morning, it's almost 4 minutes past 9, Monday the 14th of July. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend is with me. Still to come between now and 10. British heavyweight boxer Fraser Clark will tell us if Daniel Dubois can beat Alexander Usyk in that huge heavyweight clash coming up this Saturday. It's live on talkSPORT. Of course, the winner would become the undisputed champion of the world. British tennis star Dan Evans will join us to look back on yesterday's Wimbledon final as the world number 1 Jannik Sinner came from behind to emphatically beat defending champion Carlos Alcaraz. But right now it's time to get an update on the rugby in partnership with Tenor Men.
Qatar Airways Lions Tour Roundup on talkSPORT with coverage sponsored by Tenor Men. With Tenor Men's unbeatable product lineup, you get the protection you need for the lifestyle you lead. Find out more at tenormen.co.uk.
So the Lions are seemingly getting better and better, notching up 4 wins from 4 from their warm-up games. Comprehensive winners over an Invitational 15 at the weekend by 48 points to 0. And as we roll into Test match week, well, it's all looking rather good for the Lions.
The Lions have taken that line out quickly, and it goes to Duan van der Merwe, who scores. Well, that was almost barbarian rugby from the Lions themselves. Lions have got a penalty here, Batches. They're not going to need it because Ben White's going to pick and go from the base of the ruck and go in under the post, untouched.
What a start Ben White has had.
Good hands from Tui Pelotu to Finn Smith. It's Hansen out to the left-hand side. Duan van der Merwe for the left-hand corner. He scores.
Oh, they're playing freely, the Lions. Really nice play.
Tui Papalotta comes crashing through. Lions have another try, and Scotland dominate the scoreboard.
Some boos in the background. It means it is the introduction of Owen Farrell onto his 4th Lions tour. An exceptional achievement for him.
Ben Earl goes into contact. Ben White, Cummings goes over and scores a try. It's another Scotland try. Keenan puts the ball into Duan van der Merwe's hands. Van der Merwe has a hat-trick. 36-0 the Lions lead. And the Lions go quickly, and Ronan Kelleher's gone over and scored in the left corner. Henry Pollock's diving after this one. Henry Pollock is claiming a try.
I think that's a try.
Never has control of it, and Henry Pollock's left hand reaches around, pushes down on the ball, and Henry Pollock scores the try. And that is it. At full time, the Lions will head to Brisbane and the first test with a decent performance in their back pocket, and have a few of this side today played their way into Andy Farrell's thoughts for Brisbane. The Australia-New Zealand Invitational side 0, British and Irish Lions 48.
Yeah, dominant performance from Andy Farrell's Lions side. Afterwards, Henry Pollock was speaking to the media. He said, we want to come here and be the best Lions team ever. We've been talking about that loads, and 3-0 is definitely on the table. Let's get the latest on this and say a very good morning to the former England and Australia head coach, Eddie Jones. Morning, Eddie.
Morning, Eddie.
Hey, boys, all right?
Yeah, really good, thanks, mate. Look, Henry Pollock saying a whitewash is on the cards. If one of your players had said that, how would you have felt about it?
Well, youth has its own way, doesn't it? Yeah, you probably don't want to be saying that at this stage. Yeah, the Australians traditionally have always been at their best when they're underdogs, and to hear that from a young player who's still, only played 1 or 2 tests, is probably just adds a little bit of extra motivation if they need any.
Yeah, I mean, no question about that. I guess the fact is he is only 20, so we'll allow it because of his youth. What have you made of the Lions then so far? I mean, we look at the scoreline at the weekend. How relevant is that to the Test match?
Well, I think the only real test they've had, and I think they probably played close to their starting 15 against the Brumbies, and they were pretty good in that game, but not absolutely outstanding. Yeah, in the last game they played a really pickup team who would have had 2 or 3 training sessions together. Players coming out of season, a couple of blokes who play in Japan played in the game, so it wasn't a real contest. But certainly they look like they're gaining momentum as the tour goes on.
Yeah, Eddie. All the talk going into the first test is about that this Australian team isn't the strongest. It's not one of their strongest teams. Dangerous to underestimate them.
Yeah, I think it is, mate. If you look back traditionally at Lions tours, the first test, is where an upset can happen. In 2001, Lions had a really strong team. Australia had were red-hot favourites, for that game. And the Lions upset them and ended up nearly taking the series when the Australian was a superior team. And I think it's all set for this week. Everyone's talking about the Lions. Australia can't win. You go to Suncorp. Suncorp's one of those stadiums where, there's always a bit of magic in the air because it's a close crowd, good atmosphere, fast pitch. And if Australia, can get on the front foot early and get their nose in front and put the Lions under pressure, which they really haven't been under the whole tour, then they give themselves a chance to win the game.
Owen Farrell got some minutes at the weekend. He got some headlines as well, Eddie, because he always does. That's for sure. I think that the Lions got so many injuries at the moment. Is he in the mix to be a starter, do you think, in the first test?
Well, I reckon that at this stage, the selection of the finishers or the guys on the bench will be the most interesting part of selection, because I think the first 15's probably worked itself out to a large degree. Maybe 12 still a bit of a quandary between Bundyaki and Tupoloto. But who they pick on the bench, Marcus Smith, Finn Smith, Owen Farrell. And certainly he looked like when he came out on the weekend, he looked like he was full of beans. He's a highly experienced player. And if you needed someone to kick a 40-metre penalty goal at the end of the game, you'd want him taking the kick, mate.
definitely. Eddie, the players that are drafted in later, that arrive in the camp after everybody else, how difficult is it for those guys? Do they kind of have more to prove in some ways?
I think it's like almost a free pass for those blokes. They can come in and just, really get on with it. Someone like Jamie George has been on the Argentina tour. Will come in and he's got, just be yourself, be the best version of yourself. He's played 100 tests. So they can really add to the two of those guys. And I think guys like Jamie and Owen will do that. They had some experience and they'll have the enthusiasm of a young guy.
Yeah, I mean, we're very much looking forward to it. Just let's touch on Japan if we can, Eddie. I mean, okay, went wrong for you against Wales at the weekend, but do you feel you're making progress there?
Yeah, we are making progress, mate, but it's one step forward, two step back sort of thing. We had a good win in the first test, played poorly in the first half, got back to 24-22 with 8 minutes to go and just made some crucial mistakes under pressure. So it was disappointing not to win that second test because, to win a series 2-0, you're proving you're a better team than the opposition. When it's shared like that, no one knows who wins, who's the better team. So, but we are making some progress, mate. Yeah.
How widely is it played in Japan, Eddie? How much choice of players do you have?
Well, at the moment, not a lot, mate, because the league one's 12 teams, and most of the 12, the vast majority of 12 teams have got 11 foreigners of the 15 playing. So we've got a small pool to play from. But we've got some good players here. They just at the moment they're a little bit lacking experience. But the great thing since we've taken over, we'll now have 2 players next year playing in Super Rugby and 2 players playing in top 14. So it'll just help the development of the team because when you're only used to the domestic level, which most of our players are, the ceiling of where they can go is set, and we need to break that ceiling through.
Yeah.
Like what happened in 2015 and 2019.
Yeah. Would Japan ever be ready to host a Lions tour, Eddie? You're trying to grow the game there as well as obviously impart all your experience on the players, but would it be ready, do you think, to maybe host the Lions one day?
I couldn't see all those leather patches in Japan, mate. It might be a bit too much for them.
Yeah.
But Japan it's got one advantage that the league here is supported by some of the major companies in the world. Whilst the teams have become more community teams, they still have, the likes of Toshiba, Panasonic sponsoring the team. So it's a financially stable situation. And if we can bring the young players through a little bit quicker, then we can have another really good period of growth in Japan.
Eddie, best of luck, mate. Really appreciate you joining us today. Thanks.
No, thanks, boys. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Eddie Jones, the current head coach in Japan. He's got obviously a job on his hands.
He's got a job by the sounds of it there. I think he was very diplomatic there, Eddie, wasn't it? It sounds like he's up against it a bit.
Ozzy says, gents, great show as a Chelsea fan. I love the fact all of our rivals are doing everything to undermine our excellent achievement. Initially, it was we've not played a decent team at the tournament. Then we beat PSG, and it's back to being a joke tournament. Look, he said £100 million or so in the bank and world champions. Up the Chelsea, absolutely, Ozzy. You've gone out there, you set your stall out to win it, and you've done just that. We were talking about favourite tribute band names, by the way, and Craig has come up with one. He said local tribute band in Scotland, Glasgow-based, Hugh Reid and the Velvet Underpants, which is absolutely brilliant. Don't forget, British and Irish Lions take on the Wallabies in the opening test of the series this Saturday in Brisbane. It's live and exclusive right here on talkSPORT. Coverage starts from 10, kick-off at 11, and that was thanks to Tenor Men.
Qatar Airways Lions Tour Roundup on talkSPORT with coverage sponsored by Tenor Men. With Tenor Men's unbeatable product lineup, you get the protection you need for the lifestyle you lead. Find out more at tenormen.co.uk.
Now it is fight week. Next we'll be bringing you the build-up to Alexander Usyk against Daniel Dubois for the right to be crowned undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Fellow heavyweight Fraser Clark will join us next. morning, 9:19, Monday the 14th of July. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with the Arnold Clark app. Buy a car and then join Arnold Clark Rewards to enjoy access to great giveaways and everyday perks. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend. It was with me. John Joe's texted. He just said, good morning to the talkSPORT team and to the champions of the world. Good morning to you as well, John Joe. Glad you're enjoying it. Chelsea then officially World Club champions. They thrashed PSG last night. Let's be brutally honest.
Absolutely turned them over, didn't they?
Yeah, they really did. 3-0, not flattered by it, not at all. Back to the phone lines in just a moment. First, though, talkSPORT's European expert, Andy Brassel, slapped all the praise on Enzo Maresca and claimed he is well on his way to becoming world class.
I have to say that in a year that Paris Saint-Germain dominated so far, it's the English clubs that have given them the biggest trouble. Now, you might say, okay, financially, there are reasons for that. I think where the Premier League has come to dominate so much in recent years is the fact that they've been able to buy the best coaches. Now, Enzo Maresca maybe doesn't quite belong to the elite coaches yet. I think this would be a card to say he's on his way, to say he's certainly learning and learning fast, especially when he's been under immense pressure for results under the last couple of months, and there have been parts of the Chelsea fan base that have doubted him. I'm sure there have been people in the boardroom at Stamford Bridge that have doubted him as well. For him to produce something like this and to get his team to produce something like this after such a physically and emotionally taxing season is impressive. It felt like a game too much for PSG, and it felt like a game too much against Premier League opposition for PSG.
Well, that'll raise a few eyebrows. Enzo Maresca on his way to being world class. But, you know, when you look at it, I mean, last night he got everything right now.
Everything. Spot on. Selection, tactics, and then and injecting the right amount of belief and confidence and courage into the players to go and produce a performance as they did. The way they started the game, Jeff, they started so well. It was so good from the get-go. And I've seen PSG a lot in the Champions League last season, and they've frightened teams. They have really, really frightened teams in the opening 10 or 15 minutes. I've seen them turn up in matches, and they could have been, in most games I watched them, I think they could have been 2 or 3 up inside 10 minutes, PSG, against some of the very best. Chelsea did not allow that to happen last night, and then inflicted their own damage. And absolutely deserved it. They did.
Yeah, and people claim PSG, you know, were flat. Well, they weren't flat 4 days earlier, were they, against Real Madrid?
No.
Let's hear from a Chelsea fan, shall we? Ikram has called the show. Morning, Ikram.
Morning, Jeff. How you doing? You all right? Morning, Andy.
Good morning, Ikram. How are you?
It's a good morning. It's a good morning. I'm telling you that.
I bet it is.
You know what? Look, I'm going to get a lot of stick for this, but you know what? I was at home yesterday, Sunday evening, with my baby boy in my arms, 2 years old, said Chelsea for the first time. My daughter was loving Doja Cat. My missus even joined me for football, and now that is a bloody miracle. Now, I'll tell you what, it was. I think it was just iconic. It reminded me of USA 94. Love it or hate it, with Donald Trump there, with the halftime show, with the music. It was just iconic. And then obviously it also helps when Chelsea are winning. The future of England, King Cole Palmer, it was absolutely majestic. It was a script. It was Oscar-worthy. So for me, happy days, and I absolutely loved it.
And you know, Ikram, you're right to have loved it. It was a brilliant performance. But you know, everyone now is going to talk about Chelsea as being potential Premier League winners. What do you make of that?
You know what? I think yesterday was more than just a win. It was a warning. I really think the real rebuilding of Chelsea is serious. You know, Palmer was poetry in motion. We know that. Pedro dancing past defenders, and Dilap, you know, power, presence, and purpose. And since when did we have Sanchez channeling his inner Czech in goal? You know, it was amazing. I think there's some real hope for the future. And yes, 100% people will be right to believe that Chelsea are contenders next season.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because, you know, people will say, oh, it's the Club World Cup and, you know, other teams didn't really care. PSG showed you at the end, didn't they, just how much they cared with the fact that the behaviour was so poor.
It was despicable. It was despicable. And to see the manager lay hands on one of our players, it was disgusting. And, if that was Jose Mourinho, it'd be all over the news and it'd be fine. But, the fact that they lost and their behaviour and they've been sore losers, it just added more enjoyment to the game. And you know what? Chelsea gave us one of those special nights like Bayern Munich in 2012, Man City in 2021. Everyone wrote us off. And you know what? I've been sending plenty of text messages to United and Arsenal fans all day, and it's been a fantastic day, and my week's going to be brilliant.
Brilliant. Ikram, just finally, I've never been quite sure when I've seen Cole Palmer play off the right side of three up front. Well, last night he absolutely showed that he's more than capable, more prepared to do whatever it takes in that sort of position. Because, and again, I've just seen a rerun here in the studio at talkSPORT Towers of his second goal, and I think he sold the entire stadium a dummy, didn't he? Just when he looked like he was going to give it to Gusto, running round him, and then carried on and just rolled it past Donnarumma. Brilliant stuff.
It was too easy. And I know exactly what you mean. I don't know what he was going to do, but time almost slowed down. And the way he positioned that goal and placed it, honestly, it was majestic. He is the number one talent in England right now, without a doubt.
Ikram, enjoy your day. I know you're going to.
All right, thank you very much. Take care.
You too. I tell you what, Andy, look, Chelsea have earned 90 to 100 million pounds from this tournament. Tom Bowley's going to reinvest some of it, which we, from a Chelsea perspective, you'd hope he would. Mm-hmm. Where does he need to spend it?
I still would look. I know the goalie had a good night last night, but I still think that that they can find better there in that position, and I also think that possibly a centre half as well. I just think an experienced one. Again, Chalobah and Colwill and Tosin. I think that's a nice combination. You've got all the required ingredients in those boys, but what they don't have is perhaps the experience of someone who's just been a little bit been there, seen it, and done it in that position. When I look at Marquinhos, who actually struggled last night,
yes, he did.
He looked a bit vulnerable, and don't normally see that or say that about him, but when you look at the influence he's had on Paris over the last few years in order for them to finally get over the line in the Champions League, someone like that, Jeff, look, again, who that person is, I don't know, but someone like that maybe.
Really whets the appetite, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because, the Premier League season coming up, Chelsea have showed their class. Liverpool are stronger than last season.
Correct.
Don't think any doubt about that. Arsenal about to sign Victor Gyökeres, stronger than last season, and Manchester City have spent big as well. Really intriguing, and that's not to write off the likes of Newcastle, or Villa, Forest, Spurs, who themselves are spending or trying to spend at the moment. Gary has texted, said, "Hi Jeff, Andy, I didn't rate Maresca, but last night changed it all with his tactics and the way at the end of the game, when it got heated, he showed his class with the opposition and kept his own players in check.
Pulling them away when he get them out of the way.
Yeah, so that's Gaz, and he makes a very good point.
There must be a moment for coaches and managers. There must be a moment when things start to change for them. And Enzo was always going to be questioned. He was a young kid, Jeff, at West Brom when I was there. When I finished, Enzo Maresca was Enzo was a 17-year-old boy at West Brom, and he was a kind of maverick then, wanted to play or saw the game played his own way and stuck to his guns, had a decent playing career. Now we're starting to see genuine his personality, genuinely transferring and transmitting to his players, which is what it's all about as a coach. So many coaches nowadays have got so many great ideas. Can you get that across to your players? Well, on last night's going, it's starting to happen for him.
There was some wonderful shots of Maresca in the dugout 5 minutes before the full-time whistle, and he was just beaming. He was absolutely loving it.
Because he knew they were there,
He knew they were there. Richard has texted in and said, 5 old Brighton players in the World Cup winners team. Who would have thought that? Richard is a Brighton fan. You will not be surprised to know. Up next, we'll ask British tennis star Dan Evans whether Yannick Sinner now has the upper hand over Carlos Alcaraz, having got the better of him in yesterday's Wimbledon final.
PSG boss Luis Enrique insists he was playing peacemaker despite grabbing João Pedro by the throat at the Club World Cup. Chelsea beat the Champions League winners 3-0 thanks to first-half goals from Cole Palmer and Pedro. At full-time, both sets of players clashed on the pitch, but it's still not clear what sparked it. Alex Harris, host of Chelsea Fan TV, says the win puts the Blues in a good position for next season.
The main thing now is that we challenge for a longer period and show some progression in domestic competition. So that means getting, into a semi-final or a final, if not winning a domestic cup, as well as maintaining your Champions League position and obviously trying to progress in that competition as well.
Meanwhile, Cole Palmer says he was left a bit confused when Donald Trump joined in with their trophy lift. The American president handed the silverware to Captain Reece James and then appeared to linger as the players celebrated. Serena Wiegman has praised the unity in England's camp after a commanding victory over Wales. The 6-1 win means England go through second in their Euros group and face Sweden in the last 8. And it's either 6 wickets or 135 runs. Those are the respective margins separating England and India from victory in the 3rd Test at Lord's. talkSPORT will keep you updated throughout the day.
Good morning, it's 9:33 into the final half hour of the Breakfast Show on talkSPORT with Arnold Clark. Get the best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend is with me. Andrew's texted, morning Jeff and Andy, excellent result for the Blue Boys. Absolutely brilliant tactics by Maresca, plus Caicedo, world class in midfield. I think that's a decent point as well.
Good player, isn't he? And he's a fabulous operator. He is. The job that he does for the team doesn't, I'm sure, not underestimated by his coach. And when you watch him, they're never quite the same if he's not playing.
Yeah. Disagree about needing experience at the back. Those lads have the experience and supported by Cucurella and James, who also have experience. The problem, obviously, with Reece James's fitness.
Yeah.
When he's fit,
yes,
he's as good as anybody.
He is, and yet Malo Gusto offers so much energy. And for someone like Cole Palmer, who's on the right side coming in on his left foot, you need someone screaming around him to then give him the option and that bit of room to do what he does. So it'd be interesting to see where Reece James is deployed. He's experienced and good enough he is to handle a sitting midfield role, definitely.
Yeah. And Jack said just that. Jack's a Chelsea fan this morning. Chelsea fan here, he says, I saw the lineup and having 6 defenders on with Reece James holding in midfield was a stroke of genius. So lots of praise for Enzo Maresca, rightly, this morning. Now the Lionesses are into the quarterfinals of Euro 2025 after a 6-1 drubbing of Wales last night. Here's Shabana Hearn with more on England's potential route to the final.
From 6 different players. Head coach Serena Wiegman praised her team's near-perfect performance.
Yeah, when you play a game and you want to show what the difference is in level, if you can. So that's what we wanted to do. So it's really nice to see that we scored so many goals and that many different players score goals. So it shows that we have a lot of players that can score a goal, which is important in football.
After a tricky first game against France, the Lionesses finished runners-up in Group D after convincing wins over the Netherlands and Wales. Wales. Up next, it's Sweden on Thursday, live on talkSPORT at 8 o'clock. The Swedes, of course, just battered Germany 4-1 in their last group game. But we think of Sweden and England battering the Swedes at Euro 2022 and Alessia Russo's iconic back heel. Should they progress, they then come up against Norway or Portugal in a winnable semi, setting up another final, likely against the world champion Spain on the 27th of July. We'll have it all live for you here on talkSPORT.
Thanks, Shaban. Kick off on Thursday night at 8 o'clock right here on talkSPORT. PD in Devon. He's not the first one to say this. Morning, gents. You can't include Arsenal in the teams that should have been in the Club World Cup, as they have an utterly pathetic record in European competition. Didn't they reach the semi-finals of the Champions League last season, or am I forgetting that? Not so pathetic then, eh? Now, we're talking Wimbledon and the final yesterday between the two best players in the world. The world number one, Yannick Sinner, coming from behind to beat defending champion Carlos Alcaraz in fine fashion. But of course, earlier in the tournament, he'd been 2 sets down to Dimitrov before Dimitrov had to retire injured. So how does this victory sit with tennis? Of course, he's come back as well from that 3-month suspension, if you like, for a drugs-related issue. To get the answers, let's cross over and say good morning to British tennis star Dan Evans. Morning, Dan.
Morning, Dan.
Morning, gents. How are we?
Good. Yeah, good. Look, let's talk about the on-court action first of all. It was a pretty dominant performance from Sinner in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much so. He gave a lead away in the first as well, 4-2 breakup. Played a bad game there, but after the first, Alcaraz wasn't really in the match. He was dominant, broke early in both the second and third sets, and he didn't look back really. He looked in control, and Carlos looked pretty frustrated and dumbfounded for a lot of the match.
Why was that, Dan? What was it that you saw that Alcaraz could never really get going? As you say, having pinched that first set, you'd have thought he might have kicked on from there, but it just never happened. What was it?
Well, that was it really. I think he pinched the set. He didn't really. Yannick missed a few first serves towards the end of the set, and Alcaraz, nicked it from him, and then I think he was flabbergasted by how aggressive Yannick was. He was, right on the baseline, pressing him all the time, was the more creative of the two, which isn't normally the way for Alcaraz. Alcaraz is normally the one who making the plays, but Yannick was the one doing all the aggression yesterday.
How important a win was this for Sinner? Because I'm sure in the back of his mind he must have had that French Open final going through his head.
Yeah, it's more so for him, but for the rivalry. He was 0 from 6, I think, against Alcaraz, or 0 from 5. So it's good for tennis that he won that match in the sense of the rivalry. But yeah, to put that behind him just as a sports person, to what that you have to do mentally, and there wasn't many weeks between that final and this final, is that's a hell of an effort to put that to the back of your mind, and to make final straight away and win it is it's a hell of an effort. Yeah,
those two are so good, Dan. They're so good. They're so dominant. Who do you see emerging from the pack, if you like? Who's the one that you think, from what you see and what you know, obviously with inside the sport, that you think could, in 12 months' time, be in a completely different position, might be threatening guys like these two?
If he didn't have a great grass court season this year, and he sort of said he didn't think his game matched up on the grass, which I disagree with. I think it does. Was Jack.
Right.
If you're looking for someone who has the day in, day out capability and mental capacity to knuckle down, bite down on the gum shield in fitness, and he's got that, and that's where it'll start. And to try and improve your game to get near them, I see Jack's got everything in his arsenal to do that, but has he got then it becomes the quality, can you do it on the match court? It's all right doing it on the practice court, and I think that's where Jack was frustrated this grass. He didn't really get his best game on the grass, on the match court, and you've got to stay fit as well, which is something these two are doing a lot better than the rest. You know, that they hardly miss a beat, and when they're on there, they're bringing their best tennis.
Yeah, I mean, inevitably, Dan, some of the papers have referred to the 3-month ban for Yannick Sinner for drugs-related offences. What's the view amongst the players of that suspension? I mean, is the victory tarnished in any way?
I don't think the victory is tarnished. He's, rightly or wrongly, how he came about the 3-month ban isn't Yannick's fault. He did what he was supposed to do. He got his lawyers to do what they're supposed to do. He employed people what they're supposed to do. And if it was pushed through quicker, you can't blame Yannick for that. That's what the people he's instructed to do is supposed to do. And 3 months is lenient. It looked convenient as well. That's not there's no bones about that. He come back in Rome, their biggest tournament, maximum impact there. He was seeing the Pope the next day, which, was pretty. It all seemed a bit convenient for Italian tennis. But listen, I'll say it again. It's not Sinner's fault. The adverse findings in the test are his fault, of course, or his team's fault, as he says. But how it was gone about is the ATP's fault, or the ITIA's fault, or whoever you want to use, or WADA's fault. It's not Yannick's fault. So for me, he won that tournament, best player in the tournament, best player this year by quite a stretch, and yeah, he deserved to win the tournament.
And Dan, I just want to touch on the women's final, because Amanda Anisimova getting beat to love, in straight sets by Swiatek. That's a tough one. That must have been so deep. I mean, look, she had an amazing game against Sabalenka, and then to rock up for the final and be beaten like that must be really tough to handle.
Yeah, I mean, I did commentary on that, and it wasn't the easiest to watch. But listen, she's got to look back at the fortnight and the whole grass court season. She finalled in Queens as well. She's come through a lot, so losing at Wimbledon is not. I know it's a terrible loss, 6-love. Nobody wants to lose, never mind in a final. But, she'll look back at this, and making final of, the greatest tournament on earth and the most prestigious is something she'll look back on fondly. And hopefully she picks up a Grand Slam along the way. And what a sort of a bit of redemption that would be, to look back and think, she might even laugh about it. I doubt she'll be laughing now, but, it'd be nice if she could have a smile about it with another trophy in the cabinet.
She'll have a smile about it when she sees a bank account, Dan. She'll definitely have a smile. What's next for you, mate?
I'm off to Washington tomorrow, so the tournament I'd won there before, and they nicely handed me a wild card this year, so it's a bit of luck there, and hopefully can make a bit of waves there and get my ranking back up.
Brilliant, Dan. Go
Great
well
stuff.
there.
Yeah, good luck, Dan.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Dan Evans, the former British #1, off to Washington. Good to see that he's still at it.
Yes, yeah, and he still wants to compete, and he don't.
Yeah.
And for those guys, Jeff, must be really difficult, because look, as a footballer, you go on, you keep going, but you're in a team, and you can kind of get away with it for a lot longer and a little bit more when you're one of these guys and you're out there on your own. Oh, really, really difficult, and I'm sure that Dan will want to keep competing all the time. He feels like he's very competitive.
Yeah, well, and that's what he is. He is a competitor, that is for sure. Next, believe it or not, it is a year to the day since England were left heartbroken by Spain in Berlin in the Euros. More on that and much else coming up. good morning to you. 9:47, Monday the 14th of July. That test match resumes in what?
Oh, you'll
Just
be sitting
over an
there
hour's
soon.
time.
I bet you're lit. What are you going to do? You're going to get yourself a bit of grub, bit of breakfast?
Maybe not. I'm not sure. I'll just, coffee, something like that. And
Would you have been one of those cricket fans, right, years ago, when you go and watch Test cricket?
Yeah.
You know, like you used to get a little book and you used to put a little dot down when they've had a little...
You score. You do your own scoring.
You do your own
when
scoring.
I was a kid, when I was like 11, 12, 13...
Everyone used to do it, didn't they, when
used
you
to
were kids?
do that, yeah. Cricket score books. They were brilliant.
They were great, weren't they?
Dot ball,
Yeah.
W for wicket.
Exactly.
It was absolutely brilliant. People make a living out of it now, This is talkSPORT Breakfast, as you'll gather. We've got just a bit over 10 minutes to go. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend with me. This Saturday, the undisputed heavyweight title on the line as Alexander Usyk takes on Daniel Dubois. Let's take a look ahead to the fight right now with DAZN.
Big fight preview on talkSPORT with DAZN. Watch Usyk versus Dubois on the 19th of July. Live only on DAZN. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
In favor of the winner and the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
The first unified heavyweight champion from Britain in a century.
Lennox Lewis.
The Americans didn't want me to take it over to Britain, but I actually persevered and succeeded.
I'm in my prime of my career now, so it's now or never.
Down goes Joshua. Dubois hits him with a tremendous right-hand counter.
It's laid one king back in September.
Dynamite Daniel Dubois has detonated at Wembley Stadium.
He's about to slay another king on the 19th of July.
Bombs away. Are you going to knock him out? Bombs away, mate.
You dropped that from Dubois. He's put Joshua down. And Alexander Usyk finds the answer.
The minute you have all the 4 belts, we create history.
You know what they say? We'll see. We'll see.
Heavyweight brilliance, heavyweight occasion, and heavyweight radio. How about that?
Yeah, Usyk against Dubois. It is live on talkSPORT on Saturday. Dubois' trainer Don Charles joined Fight Night on Saturday and claimed that his fighter needs to be shown some respect.
Daniel deserves to, like he always says, put some respect behind my name. So for Daniel's sake, Daniel the fighter who actually gets in the ring to fight, he deserves to be. All the people who always persecute and keep saying bad things about this young man, just get off his back. For me, I'm an older person, I can take it. So I'm not looking for, how can I put credit from anybody? Like I said, as long as my family and my loved ones, my close friends know who I am, that's good with me.
It's interesting, isn't it? Show some respect to Dubois. But there used to be questions over his resilience, if you like. But his last 2 or 3 fights, I think he's put those questions to bed.
He has. He's found another level when he's had to, Jeff, and he's going to need to beat someone like Usyk. When I watch Alexander Usyk, you see such a warrior, and I think Daniel is not, to me, just about one punch. I don't know about you, Jeff. I don't see just a Dubois perler catching him right on the chin and putting him down and finishing it. I think there's got to be something more to it, the way he goes about it. And everyone always assumes that from the start, someone like Daniel, the younger man, is going to come flying into him. I don't know. I'm not so sure about all that, because Usyk's seen that, dealt with that, handled that from other people. He's got to try and... Is there another element he can bring to this fight that we haven't seen so far? We know he's got the power, he's got the hunger, he's got the appetite. Is there another little string to his bow that he can bring?
I still think maybe he's a little bit underrated. And bear in mind, Usyk is 39 in January. You cannot keep on competing the same level. Age catches everybody.
It does. Of course it does. And even for him, for someone like, and it must be very dangerous for a boxer to start looking at the finish line and thinking, I'm nearly there. Must be really dangerous to do that. But he must be thinking of that, and he must know that he's reaching a point, I would think, pretty soon where he doesn't want to just take on fights and get knocked on the floor when he's been such an amazing fighter.
Yeah.
So it's going to be compulsive viewing. It's going to be must see, and we're all looking forward to it and listening to it on talkSPORT.
Oh, mammy, I mean, Usyk looking to become an undisputed world champion for the third time. Absolutely amazing. That was a brief look ahead to Usyk against Dubois with DAZN. Don't miss that. Heavyweight rematch. All the belts and the glory at stake this weekend. It's Saturday, July the 19th, of course. Live only on DAZN. You can buy it now at DAZN.com/boxing.
Big fight preview on talkSPORT with DAZN. Watch Usyk versus Dubois on the 19th of July. Live only on DAZN. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
Right, let's finish with a bit of this.
Do you know, I'm going to say something here, Ali. Not for me, Clive. I mean, that's just something you just say to people. Any second now, we're going to hear the biggest rip where his bum cheeks come flying out the back of them strides. Oh, it's lovely when you wake up, there's a mattress outside your front door, isn't it? We got a bloke at work, we call him Pothole because everyone tries to avoid him. I thought I saw something similar to a large cat. Not for me, Clive.
Yeah, he made that phrase, not for me, Clive, legendary while on commentary duty. So we're going to put the biggest topics around to Andy Townsend, and he'll tell us if they're for him or not for him, Clive. First up, nice easy one. A year ago today, this happened.
4 minutes of normal time to go. It's 1-1. Spain working it back through the middle again. Oyarzabal with the layoff. Cucurella. Low ball in. Oyarzabal slides it in. That could be the heart-breaking moment. The Spanish substitutes race down the touchline. Oyarzabal on for Morata. And he has supplied the touch in front of Jordan Pickford that might just see England beaten in the final.
Yeah, that was a year ago today. Oh, let's be honest, Spain were the better side on the day, no doubt. And so, the question is this, Andy. Will Thomas Tuchel be following in Chelsea's footsteps and leading England to World Cup success at the MetLife Stadium?
As ever, England will have a chance. They'll be much fancied by many. Of course, they carry the burden, the weight of so many disappointments. Do I think they'll win it there next year in those conditions? Not for me, Clive. I don't think England will do it, but they've certainly got... He's got the personnel. I'm not sure Tuchel is absolutely the right character to knit this lot together. I'm not sure. Quite abrasive, Thomas Tuchel. Nothing wrong with that. Don't mind a manager that wants to get rid of people if they're not doing it for him and bring others straight through the door. That's part of the business. Don't know. They've been used to a certain type of coach for a while. And I'm not totally convinced that Tuchel's going to find the answers, so I'm going to say not for me.
OK. Next up, Noni Madueke on the verge of joining Arsenal from Chelsea, but Gunners fans headed online to take part in a petition to stop the club from signing him this weekend. So, for me or not for me, Clive, should Arsenal fans be embarrassed with themselves?
For me, Clive, yeah, they should be. Because why would you not, for one, want to take a decent young player, still with plenty to prove, Noni Madueke, but I think we saw at times last year for Chelsea, his game had started to emerge and come on. Brave call by the club to say that they're allowing him to go. Arsenal, when their season, if they're going to finally get over the line in the Premier League, they're going to need all hands to the pump, need everything they've got to do it. So why wouldn't you want to take good young players just because he comes from Stamford Bridge? Come on, guys, get over that and welcome someone with plenty of ability into your fold. You never know what he might give you.
And finally, Rory McIlroy looked in pretty good nick yesterday. Yeah. Runner-up to Chris Gotterup in the Scottish Open and sporting a new buzz cut. Yes. He revealed afterwards he shaved his hair off to hide the grey hairs. Yeah. It backfired, though, and made it worse. So for me, or not for me, Clive, should young men embrace going grey?
Of course they should. For me, Jeff, as someone that's got plenty of grey, even though Rory's a lot younger than me. Yeah, I don't, do you know, I think in this day and age now, I think anyone cares about a few grey hairs here and there. And you know what? I think that if you want to have a buzz cut and you're grey underneath, go for it. Why not?
Yeah. It's amazing how attitudes have changed over the years because, you know, grey hair used to, I mean, they used to say it make you look distinguished, but it didn't really. And remember the days when if you're absolutely bald, yes, you know, it meant, generally speaking, you're perceived as being a troublemaker, being difficult, things. And now Absolutely the norm.
I used to go in the bathroom and see, and my dad used to have the old Grecian 2000.
Yeah.
Do you remember that stuff?
Do I remember it? I still use it. Brilliant.
Oh, dear.
Look, Andy, thanks very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Indeed.
Enjoyed
your company. I'm back tomorrow from 6 alongside the former Crystal Palace, Newcastle and West Ham manager, Alan Pardew. Up next, Simon Jordan, Martin O'Neill, and a man who definitely is still in need of Grecian 2000 is Jim White.